Hello there, very good morning to you on this Monday morning. Today marks 3 years since the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
The Prime Minister issues an impassioned plea to help.
What I have seen only makes me more determined to stand up for Ukraine, to put them in the best possible position and make sure they have the security and the hope that they need.
That's as President Zelenskyy reveals he is willing to give up his position to secure peace for the country.
But as the Prime Minister and other European leaders head to Washington, D.C. this week, how will they navigate an American president who thinks this?
This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago.
Change in Germany as the Conservative CDU claim victory. But it's the surging ADF in second place, which will send shockwaves throughout Europe.
The Pope remains in a critical condition as the Vatican reveals an initial mild kidney problem as millions of Catholics around the world continue to pray for his recovery.
Let's dance. Broadcasting legend Angela Rippon joins us live in the studio to discuss her nationwide campaign to use dance to improve your health, connect with others and have fun.
Danger to life amber weather alert is issued for the UK as heavy rain and deep floods hit parts of Wales overnight. Here's what to expect for the rest of the day.
After an unsettled Sunday, Monday promises sunny spells for many of us. I'll have all of the details coming up shortly.
And in the sport this morning, the Premier League title is now Liverpool's to lose with 11 games to go. They beat Manchester City 2-0. Rangers have sacked their manager, Philippe Clement, after 16 months in charge and 13 points behind Celtic, and the son of an ex-England footballer who's broken a British athletic record.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Monday morning. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. Now, I'm very worried about the Pope this morning.
Well, he's very old and they're now saying there's a kidney problem that goes along with his pneumonia and bronchitis.
It feels like the picture's just getting more complicated every single day. There's just another thing to add to it.
Well, it is. I suppose, Paul, once you get one of these conditions at age, it's, you know, it's a downward spiral.
Well, you'd think so. You get one moment, oh, it's OK, then it's not. I don't know how... What do you reckon the press office in the Vatican is like? Do you reckon it's a very old-fashioned sort of situation, do you think, the way they would deal with things like the palace would be?
Well, I'd say they have to be dealing with the distinct possibility that he may die.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'd say they have to have one arm of the press office just dealing with funeral arrangements and what's going to happen then if that was to come about. But it's such a mega thing that they would have to be well prepared for that.
Well, Pope Francis has made it clear that he wants the communication to be really open with the public. So that's why we're getting these daily statements. So we had one late last night talking about Pope Francis saying he remains in a critical condition. He now has early kidney failure. That's the update from the Vatican late last night. He's 88, but this is the second day running that we've heard that he's in this critical condition. As Eamonn says, double pneumonia in both lungs and battling bronchitis as well. But the good news is, he was awake yesterday in order to take part in Mass in, I think he's in the floor 10 of the Gemelli Hospital in Rome at the moment. So he's responsive and awake enough in order to partake in a Mass.
But the irony is Conclave, is the film Conclave, which is out of them.
I watched it Saturday night.
Well, what did you think? Because I watched it Saturday night too.
What did you think?
When you both say you watched it, it doesn't sound as if I went to the cinema to see it.
No, it's not. I watched it at home.
I paid for it.
I didn't see it at the cinema.
$4.99. You can rent it.
Yeah.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. I'd give it to you, but you only get 48 hours to watch it, so you have to watch it, like, right now.
Yeah, just...
You can't do that. But it's very good.
Listen, OK, look, the elephant in the room when it comes to... you can't, obviously, you don't want any spoilers, but I got to say I was slightly disappointed with the end.
You didn't love it? It's not high drama, is it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was not high drama, but I thought it was dramatic.
Some people say it's very long.
You know what? It's not, though, Eamonn.
not.
That's the thing. So many are like 3 hours. I think this was 2 hours max. I thought it was...
Yeah, I thought it was good.
It's very long, a bit like the intro from you two to this programme.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you both very much indeed. What a significant day today is. 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. Keir Starmer reaffirming his support for the country.
Instability in Europe always washes up on our shores. And this is a generational moment. I've been saying for some time that we Europeans, including the United Kingdom, have to do more for our defence and security. The US is right about that. In this new era, we can't cling on to the comforts of the past.
Well, overnight, a week on from being branded a dictator by President Trump, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said he is ready to give up the Ukrainian presidency if doing so delivers peace and NATO protection.
Also politically, just let's look at Germany. Friedrich Merz is set to become their next chancellor after his centre-right Christian Democratic Union won the election on Sunday night, with the ADF surging to second place, reshaping relations within Europe. Political commentator Oscar Reddrop with us now with his take on the significance of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, when we see a momentous moment across the globe in terms of, you know, Trump, Russia, the Ukraine-Russia situation, and then we look at the huge conservative momentum in Germany now, we are really starting to see a reshaping on the continent. I think the AfD coming in a hugely strong second really speaks to the fact that a lot of the commentary before the election and has proved to be the case, which really, you can really cut it and shrink it down here, is this was an immigration election. And it is a pattern that we're seeing really starting to emerge right across Europe.
Would that include the UK?
Well,
if you were to hold a general election here, do you think that will be reflected?
I mean, look, the politics moves incredibly quickly now. You know, the weather changes, you know, every 5 minutes it feels like. But you really do start to see, you know, people like Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, you know, they will identify these patterns that we're seeing right across the world, actually, on stuff like immigration. And they will think, you know, when they look at their polling numbers, you know, if we had an election this time next week in the UK, we would see a similar kind of resurgence of the right in this country. But with things as they are on the kind of the geopolitical kind of footing at the moment.
I mean, when you look at things in Germany, this is not an Angela Merkel Germany, is it?
No, it's funny, as I was saying, how fast things change. It's a completely different Germany now. And actually, I would say that there are regular, ordinary folk in that country that feel very similarly to regular or ordinary folk in here in the UK. And so, you know, it's going to be fascinating if this trend, you know, comes across to the UK in what will fly by in the next kind of 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely. Can we talk about Zelenskyy, please? Because remarkable from him, really, saying he'd quit the presidency if it brings peace and NATO protection. Do you think he'd get it?
So I remember being at number 10 around the time that the war first started 3 years ago, and I was completely taken, wasn't privy to, so, you know, I'm not going to inflate my importance, but being in that building at that time, I was completely taken by the strength and heroicness of Zelenskyy. And I think sometimes you just have to call things as you see them. And, you know, to call that man a dictator, don't get me wrong, the politics is complicated, and they're complicated in Ukraine. They have been for many years. But is just the most horrific term you could call someone like Zelenskyy, and proving that, saying that this is not about him. It never was about him, actually, this war. It's about protecting his people, his sovereign nation, and Ukraine. And for him to step aside, if they were granted NATO status, I think completely speaks to that. On a really pragmatic level, it's going to be very, very difficult to get Putin to agree to something like that. But the feeling and the sentiment remains. You know, this is a man that wants his country, the protection of his nation, above everything else.
Trump is not a man that you see on the ground. I mean, you know, you name so many European leaders, they've been to Ukraine. They've seen what goes on there. I can't really recall where
really
I ever saw Trump going and visiting, or whether in opposition or in power. But surely he couldn't speak the way he does, the casual way that he does about, hey, an idiot could have solved this, the most basic, negotiator could have done it. I mean, he talks rubbish, really does talk rubbish. But then if he talks rubbish, so many people believe the rubbish that he talks.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point in terms of the visit and actually being on the ground, and maybe that would give him a different perspective. Not in defence of Trump, but when you really cut it down, there is so much bluster to the man. And when you watch kind of the commentariat and leading politicians get really swept up in the language, I kind of did it just about 2 minutes ago. There is an error there. It's all about results for someone like Trump and the cut of a deal. And ultimately, and you speak to Ukrainians on the ground, and this is a slight fly in the ointment, like real politic, where it isn't just he's a hero, here's a villain. And we can say that from the warmth of our lovely studio here in the UK. But there does need to be an end to this war at some point. It's been the most deadly war on our continent since the Second World War. And there are a lot of people that just want a peace deal struck, and Trump has to he has to thrash about, he has to kind of create some tension in a way to get that done. And so when Starmer's going over on Thursday, huge. I can't even put into words how monumental this is. And I think across all shades of politics in this country, we back Keir Starmer as much as we can and hope he does.
When you're going to back Keir Starmer, he's only going to go and kiss Donald Trump's ass, isn't he?
Well, he needs to do that cleverly, and he needs to bear gifts.
He'll pretend through some press release that I laid it straight, I told him as it was, but he won't tell him as it is.
I think if Starmer gets into a kind of a telling him straight match with Donald Trump, there is only one winner in that scenario, and it would be very, very embarrassing for the Prime Minister.
So how do the two men play it this week? The two men being Emmanuel Macron tomorrow and Keir Starmer on Thursday. They said they're going to have this united front. But what does that mean? Because you're right, if you go in critical of Donald Trump, he's not going to have a listening ear.
There needs to be absolute concrete, in my view, concrete pledge, probably by France and UK, to raise defence spending. In fairness to America and Trump, they're looking at a tired, weak kind of...
Yeah, but Starmer's going to pretend he's done that. I mean, he had promised to raise 2.5% anyway. He's simply bringing it forward a bit and going to make out that I'm immediately responding to this with something he was going to do anyway. So we will announce, I'll predict now, Thursday he will say we're raising defence spending to 2.5%. Well, there you go. That was a shock.
Well, it needs to.
It's still not enough.
It's not enough. And interestingly enough, and this is what the new kind of flavour is with Trump being back in power, is that it won't be enough for Trump. And I think unless we can make a real concrete pledge to get it up to around 3%, I think France will have to raise theirs as well. Trump, from his perspective, an understandable way, will be looking at the EU and Keir Starmer in the UK and thinking, like, you need to help yourselves here, guys. Like, you're wasting my time.
He's more worried about what's going on the China Seas, isn't he, and what's happening.
But that's another point, and that's another strong selling point that Starmer really needs to lay down. Is look. Just Trump. If we embolden Putin and we allow Putin to, in inverted commas, win this war and claim victory, then Taiwan is next. And that is a lot more destabilising for even an isolationist president in the US. So we have an incredibly weak hand. I do not envy Keir Starmer's job this week, but if we play it right, then ultimately we can, slightly rose-tinted here, but we can stand by Ukraine, and eventually, we can find security and peace on the continent.
Oscar, see you again after 7 o'clock. Thank you very much indeed. Please do have your say, and we will put those points to Oscar later on. And also, if you're heading out today, have a listen to us on the radio. We're there. Ask your device to play GB News on the radio, and it will do just that.
Now, at 14 minutes past 6, let's take a look at some other stories coming to the newsroom this morning. Pope Francis remains in hospital in Rome, where he's also experienced mild kidney problems, but continues to be alert and well-orientated. That's according to the Vatican. The pontiff has asked for prayers as he continues to receive treatment in hospital for double pneumonia.
This British couple in their 70s have been arrested by the Taliban in Afghanistan. They're Peter Reynolds, who's 79, and his wife Barbie, 75. They've been detained as they travelled to their home in the country's Bamyan province. The couple have been running training projects in Afghanistan for 18 years. Their daughter has told the BBC she has not heard from her parents in more than 2 weeks. They were arrested by the Taliban for giving lessons in parenting to Afghan mothers.
Conclave has emerged as the film to beat at next week's Academy Awards after sweeping the Screen Actors Guild Awards overnight, winning Best Film and Best Ensemble. Other winners included Demi Moore, Timothée Chalamet and Kieran Culkin, who head into next week's Academy Awards with a boost of momentum.
And on this day, a lot of rain coming into Wales, certainly in London today. The roads were well and flooded, and that'll affect your travelling today, I would have thought. Where else is that rain? Let's go to Catherine Chalk to find out.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. The rain will be clearing its way eastwards through today, then sunshine and showers with lighter winds compared to Sunday. So we've got this band of rain across the southeast through this morning. That will clear its way eastwards, then turning drier for a time with some sunny spells breaking through. But we'll also see some showers developing across the southeastern England into parts of East Anglia. But further towards the west, plenty of sunshine. Northern Ireland seeing frequent showers that could be on the heavy side. Likewise for northwestern Scotland, but feeling pleasant in that sunshine. Highs of up to 13 or 14 degrees with lighter winds too. Now, as we head through Monday evening, we'll still see a few showers across the southern parts of England, but most places further towards the east should see some clear skies. A band of heavy and organised showers across western areas, but we'll see temperatures start falling away, so some of the showers across parts of Scotland could turn wintry over the highest ground. So as we go ahead through Monday evening and overnight, the showery outbreaks of rain will continue to push their way eastwards. Further towards the southwest of England, though, we have a band of more persistent rain just pushing up from the south, and that will move its way slowly eastwards into parts of London and East Anglia. Behind that, clearer spells developing. We'll start to see the winds drawing in more of a northwesterly, so actually turning a little bit colder on Tuesday morning, perhaps with a touch of frost for some of us. So through Tuesday morning is a damp start across eastern parts of England. Hazy spells of sunshine behind that. Then showers will start developing more widely as we go into the afternoon. So it's a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers on Tuesday. Generally the winds are a touch lighter though, and we'll see them coming in more of a westerly direction. So temperatures a touch down on what we've seen in recent days. Bye-bye.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
So did you do anything else over the weekend besides eating biscuits?
I ate lots of biscuits this weekend.
What type of biscuits were these?
Am I allowed to say where I got them from? I'm not sure I am. But anyway, there's a new type of biscuit, we'll say that. And it's like a very, very big malted milk, which is the best biscuit on the market, I think.
A malted milk?
A big malted milk, but imagine a big chunky one with chocolate chips in it. And I dunked it in my tea, and it was the best thing ever.
Well, I'm glad that made you happy.
That was the highlight of my weekend.
Nice. What made you happy? What was the highlight of your weekend? Share it with us this morning. We will share Mr. Paul Coit with you. He has the sport next.
I'm Michael Portillo. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel. Well, joining us in the studio now is Chia Eaglin and Erin Cobb from Clark's Farm Greyhound Rescue, who have brought along two very special guests. This is Duchess.
So Duchess is the one I'm stroking. This is Duchess, isn't it? Our lady joining us this morning, and then over there is Vieira.
Vieira's a chap, isn't he? And Duchess is a lady. So,
talk to us about their history. Now, they used to be racing dogs, didn't they? But now they're looking for a home.
Yeah, so both of these dogs were racing greyhounds. They have retired recently. So now we are getting them ready and prepared to go into a forever home, essentially.
So anyone watching, make sure you get on the Clark's Farm website later on today, because these guys are up for adoption. And I mean,
and they are very cute.
Look how gorgeous.
Look how well behaved they are as well. They were a little bit excited when they came in because it's their first time on TV, and they wanted to make a good impression.
They did.
Now
they're both looking, aren't they? They know what's up on
yawning already.
Here. Now, talk to us about greyhounds as a breed. If anyone was going to adopt a greyhound, what would they expect?
I'd say the first thing is couch potatoes. They are the most lazy dog ever.
Really? You wouldn't expect that because of the background?
Everyone has this massive misconception that they need loads of exercise, loads of walks, but they are actually, you know, quite happy with 2 20-minute walks a day. They are so laid back.
Easy.
That's
as long as they're able to have their moments of madness, zoomies, you know, they do get the sillies, of course. But once they've had that, they are so happy to just chill out on the sofa with you. Usually,
they've all got different personalities, and it's just great to see. Even though some of them,
Duchess just perched on the back of your head.
Duchess is going to fall asleep. You're on TV, Duchess.
She's watching.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Andrew Pearce. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Now, I'm going to talk about a lady called Brogan Berwick, who's 26 years of age, and she got £100 on the spot fine in Islington in London. What did she get it for, Paul?
Is it anything to do with dog poo?
She threw something up in a tree.
No. What we were talking about the other day?
No.
Oh.
No. What she threw up, and what she should have been rewarded for, she threw the uneaten remains of her banana up into the tree for the birdies.
Oh, that's
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Perfect thing to do, nothing to do. But these two wardens came along and laughed and said, "Here you are, there's £100 fine."
Ridiculous.
Right? Absolutely ridiculous. Did they come along when other people were throwing faeces up in the tree?
When they were throwing faeces in the tree faeces throwers.
Soft and hard?
No.
In doggy poo bags?
No, it's too early for soft and hard.
Well, so that you're the typical sort, you will not confront this. So you'd rather walk around the park and see all these dog poo bags hanging from a tree.
No.
You do see it. You'll see it at this time of the year.
I'd rather see it in the bin, yes.
No, something should be done about it. This poor woman, she actually had her fine rescinded after the Sun got in touch.
Yes.
And said, look, she threw an uneaten banana up on the tree for the birds to feed on, and they looked at video footage and said, yeah, you're right.
Not only should she have had her fine rescinded, she should have been rewarded. Not only, but it's combustible, get rid of the...
Yeah.
Because what happens if you put a banana skin on the floor? Well, all sorts of comedy happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sliding, slipping, put it up in the tree, the birds, it's good for the birds.
She's doing her bit for nature.
She is.
You should be allowed to throw away apple cores, pear cores, peach cores.
I have those too, yes. All the cores. Yeah.
It's not littering at all.
Are you allowed to do that? Because I always do that when I'm driving. I'd throw an apple core out the window. Are you allowed to do that? I'd probably just break the law again.
Especially when it hits the windscreen of another car.
You should be allowed to do it.
I do it all the time.
The rubbish that is thrown out car windows and no one does anything about it, but...
Strictly apple cores.
Bits of fruit should be OK.
Yeah, bits of fruit is fine, isn't it?
Do you know what? Watching Liverpool and City yesterday, it was definitely out with the old, in with the
changing of the guard.
Changing of the guard.
Absolutely. So Man City 0, Liverpool 2. Liverpool They dominated them, didn't they? I mean, Liverpool are the best side in the country, if not in Europe by country mile, I think, at the moment. So they're 11 points clear. Try this one. So they're 11 points clear at the top at the moment, Liverpool. Now, there's always talk of, are they going to manage? Are they going to hang on? Is it done? Look, to put it in some sort of context, Arsenal, who are second, who got beaten by West Ham, so it's pretty much over there. Arsenal need Liverpool to lose 4 out of 11 games that they've got left. And Arsenal need to win everything.
All of those, yeah.
And put it this way, Liverpool have lost 5 of their last 76. So are they going to lose 4 in the next 11?
They're not.
They're not going to.
And
so it's Liverpool's title.
2-0 away at the Council House Estate. The ground was a good win. A good win for them.
Yeah, it was. Where was it?
Well, that's what it is, owned by the council.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, is that a Man United little nudge, though,
the Commonwealth Games. It was built for the Commonwealth Games.
Right.
City don't own it.
Oh, Man City. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Is Mo Salah going to sign a new contract, do you think?
Well,
That's
if
a
I was
good
Liverpool, I would bite the fella's hand off if he was eager.
Who? Mo Salah's?
Yeah.
But you can't play with one hand. It's nonsense. You can't. It's counterproductive, Eamonn, if you do such a thing. But for Mo Salah, listen, I would give him whatever he wants. He's probably playing the best football he's played in his career. See, he's 32 years old. But is he going to? He's probably going to want to go to Saudi. He's probably going to want to go to Saudi Arabia. But he can go whenever he wants. So if I was him, I think probably he's the one that's stalling on the deal, not Liverpool. Because Liverpool would be crazy, like you say. They would be crazy not to do a deal.
But then they could look to cash in on a 32-year-old, get decent money for.
See, that's it. That is. They could cash in, maybe. I mean, the records that he's breaking. Scored and assisted in 11 Premier League games so far this season, which is the most by a player in a single season in all 5 European leagues since Lionel Messi did it 10 years ago. I mean, the guy's unbelievable.
Brilliant game at St James's Park. Newcastle out 4-1 up at half-time.
Yep.
4-3 it ends.
Yeah.
Against Forest. Now, my complaint here is,
right,
and it's a serious complaint, and I noticed this a few weeks ago, why are Forest playing in a Man City kit?
Oh, the light blue.
Yeah, it's too distinctive. It's not associated with Nottingham Forest. It shouldn't be associated. The people who dream up these kits, it's just like watching Man City, and it just puts me off.
But it's green, surely.
Because they're in a light blue. Do you feel that way about Coventry, then?
No, because Coventry's Coventry.
Coventry is Coventry. That's always a colour. See, I can't see where the kit clash would happen.
No.
Between Newcastle in the black and white stripes and Nottingham Forest in red.
Yeah.
It's all about... Well, you know what it's about.
The money.
It's about selling shirts.
Do you think Forest should be in green? I know that they wear red, but...
Oh, as in Nottingham Forest green? Forest green. But then you've got your Forest Green Rovers. You know, when it comes to... Look, there we are. I get you would never look at that and say that was Nottingham Forest.
No, you'd think it was Man City.
It's very Man City, you're right. So, and that probably, the red clashes much less than even the blue does. But as I say, we could go until the cows come home. It's just about selling shirts.
Newcastle back in the winning form again.
Who play, by the way, Liverpool in the week. Liverpool.
Paul, was it a shock that Rangers sacked their manager?
No, I don't think so. I think this has been coming for a while. Philippe Clement, Belgian, 16 months he's been in charge. So they lost to St Mirren at the weekend. They haven't lost against St Mirren at Ibrox since 1991. With respect to St Mirren, even so, they lost to Queen's Park in the Cup, which was a disaster. And they are not doing well. And the thing is, when you look at the Premiership, they're 13 points behind Celtic, which they never want to happen. Time for a change. And also the other big thing is that there's American investors that are sniffing around that look like they're going to take over. So they're thinking, well, OK, maybe we should do this now. So what do you think? Steven Gerrard going back again? Who knows? Possible.
England beat Pakistan by 6 wickets.
No, that was India, but England lost to Australia.
England are playing Wednesday.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. It's the Champions Trophy. One-day international Champions Trophy. England, I mean, I know it happened at the weekend, but they scored an amazing total, 351 for 8, and Australia had to break the record for the biggest ODI total, one-day international, which they did. And amazingly, they did that. England against Afghanistan. I know that's the one you've been looking forward to, which is going to be on Wednesday. Although there's been a bit of controversy for obvious reasons about that. And India beat Pakistan, and that was in Dubai. They played that game.
The Indoor Athletics Championships at Birmingham over the weekend. An interesting, a gruelling distance, 3,000 metres, very strange distance.
It's longer. I guess it's longer when they're indoors because they're 200-metre tracks, so you have to do more laps. Same distance. So you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. George Mills, who broke a championship record.
Yeah.
Interesting fella because his daddy was...
Or is Danny Mills. Danny Mills. Former Leeds. By the way, family of the Mills. Danny's fine. It's okay. But Danny's son, there we are. And he ran in the Olympics, and he is a terrific runner. So it's a 3,000-metre record at the British Indoor Athletics Championship. Broke it by 10 seconds. Beat the record by 10 seconds. So Danny...
That's a lot.
It really is. It doesn't matter what distance to break anything by 10 seconds. If he did the 100 metres and broke the record by 10 seconds, that would be some going.
Yeah.
But 3,000 metres, 25 years old, and he's off to the European Championships in March, and so well done. So I was thinking how many fathers and sons, I think we've done this before about fathers, sons and siblings who are both great at...
I find it fascinating.
But different sports. Yeah. I can't think of anybody with a father and son, professional footballer and then an athlete. Maybe I'm sure there's some out there, but I'm trying to think of those, but I can't think of anybody else.
Well, if you know, let us know. Mr. Paul, thank you very much indeed. And now it's time for the Great British Giveaway.
Yes, if you want to be one of 2 new winners, each with a new iPhone, shopping vouchers and £10,000 in tax-free cash, here are all of the details that you need.
Don't miss your chance to be one of 2 big winners in our latest Great British Giveaway, as we have 2 prize bundles that have to be won. There's 2 lots of a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash. You'll also receive a brand new iPhone 16, along with £500 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. Hurry, lines close on the 7th of March. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Up next, one of the Prince and Princess of Wales' trusted advisors breaks a silence.
Do you remember that phone call between you and William about Kate's diagnosis?
It was awful. Absolutely awful. It's the lowest I've ever seen him.
Well, Dawn Neeson and Christopher Biggins will be here to react to that with us next.
The latest GB News travel.
Good morning, I'm Russell Holding. In Dundee, the A92 is closed over the Tay Road Bridge in Fife because of strong winds. There are delays of up to half an hour to trains between Glasgow Central and Carlisle because of poor weather conditions. On Merseyside, Hornby Road in Liverpool is closed for an investigation. In Cambridgeshire, the A428 is closed each way between Caxton Gibbet and St Neots, where weekend roadworks have overrun. Trains aren't running between Bedford and either Luton or West Hampstead Thameslink station because of overrunning engineering works. Buses also replaced trains between Abercunnan and Aberdare and between Pontypridd and Treherbert because of flooding. In London, the A2 is closed each way along Shooters Hill Road in Blackheath after an accident. On the M26 in Kent, it's taking 20 minutes in queues approaching the M25 because of roadworks. And in East Sussex, the A259 is closed off the A23 at the Palace Pier roundabout in Brighton because of an unsafe building.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, gbnews.com.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Front pages of the newspapers you're waking up to in this Monday morning. The Telegraph leading with President Zelenskyy saying he will quit if it brings about peace.
The Times reports that the hard right are on course for big gains in Germany as election exit polls put ADF second.
Daily Mail, Kemi Badenoch asking if licence fee payers' money was given to Hamas during the making of a controversial BBC documentary.
The Daily Express reports that WASPy women threaten legal action against the government for their refusal to compensate those hit by changes to the state pension age.
The Sun, fat jabs linked to the deaths of 82 people using Ozempic and Mounjaro.
Well, joining us now to go through the papers is former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Neeson, and actor and TV personality Christopher Biggins. Morning, you two.
Morning. Good morning.
And Biggins, should we start with Zelenskyy saying he's...
No, we start with the royal aide here.
Oh, yeah, Jason Knaff. Let's talk about that, shall we? Speaking to Australian media, he has revealed what it was like for the Prince and the Princess of Wales when she was diagnosed with cancer. Let's listen to that.
Catherine's heartfelt announcement came after weeks of intense and sometimes bizarre speculation about her health.
Where is Kate Middleton? Where are you, Kate?
It made an already terrible time even more stressful for the future king.
Within a couple weeks, if you're Prince William, you find out that both your wife and your father have cancer. And that is, I mean, I couldn't believe it.
Do you remember that phone call between you and William about Kate's diagnosis?
It was awful, absolutely awful. It's the lowest I've ever seen him.
Well, he previously worked for William and Kate between 2015 and 2021. And Biggins, you can hear him there say it was absolutely awful when Kate was diagnosed with cancer. It was the worst and the lowest that he'd ever seen Prince William, because obviously his father had just been diagnosed a few weeks before.
Well, it must have been terrible. I mean, absolutely ghastly to have two in the family like that. I know this happens, but I mean, awful. And I think she's coped wonderfully well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, I still think she's not out of the... you know, it's still rare, as we all know with cancer, it lingers. And I just think it's terrible, though, that she's been wonderful, I think wonderful, and an inspiration, I think, to the public.
I think you've also seen a closeness in them as a couple. I think they've previously been very private as a couple, but we've seen really quite emotional pictures of the two of them together, a lot more tactile.
Yeah, and the video of them romping through the Norfolk coast, which, to be honest with you, I was in two minds about that. I wasn't quite sure. It was a bit... It's the sort of thing I'd expect Meghan to do, to be honest with you, but leaving that aside. No, it's very interesting what Jason said, because he's also talking about... He was the one that revealed the allegations of Meghan Markle bullying junior
Yes, let's hear what he had to say about that.
While Jason was keeping a close eye on the couple's public image, behind the scenes, a storm was brewing. just a few months after he joined them on this trip to Ireland in 2018, their first as husband and wife. Jason raised concerns the Duchess was upsetting junior staff.
I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year. We have had report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behavior.
There you are, Dawn. Unacceptable behaviour.
Yes, I mean, and this caused a huge stir at the time. I mean, there had been various royal reporters who had been told this, but Jason actually, who worked for William and Kate, came out, and he worked for them between 2015 and 2021, I think. He came out and actually said, no, these allegations are there, and the Duchess of Sussex has always denied any allegations of bullying.
Yeah.
But these were accusations that were levelled at her when she was over here at Buckingham Palace, and also, interestingly, we have seen last year in particular allegations of her bullying TV production staff in America. So now these are allegations. Meghan obviously denies everything, but it does make you wonder there's no smoke without fire to have those allegations. Certainly bullying young junior members of staff, reducing people to tears. In the UK and in America, you do have to wonder whether this is lots of people who have access to grind or whether it's actually true.
Don't they have to sign, their staff, a letter or a contract saying that they can't say anything?
An NDA?
Yeah.
No, maybe.
Well, I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, no, they do.
I mean,
No, they
but
really
then
do.
why he should be sued then, this boy, because I think it's all very well making accusations about people, but they can't stand up and say, no, I didn't say that.
But, I mean, the thing is, Meghan and Harry have said that several times, haven't they? They've said that in, I think we saw a clip there in the infamous now Oprah Winfrey interview. And I think with these NDAs, if you break them and the people that ask you to sign them in the first place want you to take them, then it all goes away. You're allowed to do so. I'm not saying that's what happened in this case, but, I mean, Jason doesn't seem to have had any problem saying these, making these allegations.
I'm looking at you and I'm smiling. You and I would have been brought up in similar working environments, and I look and I think I wouldn't even go here with Dawn Neeson, because what we were used to, and I'm not saying subjected to, because everybody got it. There were loud voices, there was threatening behaviour. I had telephones thrown at me, cups thrown at me. I had a typewriter thrown at my feet, an Adler typewriter. And that was, what's wrong with this script? I don't know.
What was this, telly bosses?
Yeah.
Wow. And the same in newspapers. I mean, you know, most of the bosses I work for were basically psychopaths. But in a nice way, obviously. Well, look, it made them more driven.
I don't feel wounded or harmed by it, but what I do realise is that you could never replicate, you could never in any way say to anyone, what the heck are you doing? Because you're aggressive.
Yeah.
To it, although I don't see it as aggressive, but just you need to point out to people where they're doing things wrong. So I don't know how in this day and age you actually get people back on the right track or not.
Yeah, interesting. There is a fine line between actually being driven and getting people to do things well and bullying people. And maybe Meghan crossed it, but yeah, back in the day, it wasn't.
I watched yesterday The Devil Wears Prada. It was on television.
Yeah, great film.
And of course, there, I mean, her
similar thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, brilliantly done.
Yeah, but it's a similar thing. It's a driven, demanding boss who reduces people that work for her to tears. Is that bullying?
Begins front page of the Sun, headlines screaming out about these new fat jabs.
Yes.
And they're saying that they can link 82 deaths to them.
Yeah, well, I'm on it.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you on?
I'm on.
When does it start working? How long does it
Eamonn!
You
Eamonn!
bitch.
Mind you, it was funny.
Thank you. Yes, I'm on Ozempic, and I'm on it because of my type 2 diabetes. So I'm on it legally, from my doctor. And I was on it last year, and then I stopped when I had my cancer scare. And I'm back on it again now. And it is amazing because...
I didn't know you had a cancer scare.
Yeah, I had a melanoma on my lower arm here. And they took a bit out, and then they took a huge bit out. And then I had, what's it underneath the...
Lymph nodes, yeah.
Removed. And it's all good news, but it was a bit worrying at the time.
Well, I hope you're OK, my friend.
Yeah, no, I am, thank you very much. But, I mean, I 82, mind you, 82 people have died, which is not a huge amount, but, I mean, it is slightly worrying.
Oh, of course. And how are you finding the symptoms? Side effects? Have you got any bad symptoms?
No, I still come to work, that's the only side effect. But I think that it's been wonderful from the point of view, it does curb your appetite.
And is that what it is? It just kind of lessens your food noise, as
absolutely.
it's described, so you don't feel hungry?
No, exactly that.
So you feel good?
I feel really good, yeah.
And you look good.
Oh, thank you.
You're getting good mileage out of that top. You wore that last week as well.
Did I wear it last week?
Bully Biggins time!
Don't be nasty to Biggins now.
Biggins is one of my best friends.
It's a sign of love, Biggins. He loves you.
Channeling your inner Meghan Markle there.
Right, thank you, you two. Lots more.
See, that's what I mean, actually. Him and I can indulge in banter and we can slag each other off, whatever it is. But then you get this Generation Z or whatever in between us here who actually then becomes electrocuted by this,
Oh, no, I love Biggins. I'm protecting Biggins because we love him lots. We want him to come back all the time.
He doesn't need protected, tell you that. Right, are we going to a break?
Yeah, Biggins and Dawn will be back in the next few minutes. But first, if you're in search of some winter sun, here is the forecast for the top European holiday destinations. And we apologise as well for the language earlier if you are offended by that.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, welcome to your winter sun forecast. Sunshine and showers for many with snow over the Alps and feeling less cold in Greece. Plenty of sunshine across the Canary Islands, feeling pleasant here, highs of 19 degrees. There'll be sunshine and showers elsewhere, falling as snow over the Alps and across Greece. Temperatures are going to be rising with temperatures up to 13 or 14 degrees. Looking ahead then, plenty of sunny spells, a few showers still around and feeling pleasant in that sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Ironic article in The Guardian, Nick, caring about facts.
Yeah, this is Meta is ushering in a world without facts, says Nobel Peace Prize winner. And they just seem to give these Nobel Peace Prizes to anyone these days. So it's Maria Ressa.
Not working.
Zuckerberg came out, and it was very bold. He said a few things. We're going to use community notes instead of fact-checkers. Fact-checkers inverted commas, it just means people pushing usually a specific viewpoint. Community notes seems to be a great system that X uses, so why not do that? I think that's great. He's going to reduce restrictions on topics like immigration and gender. Good, because I'm against censorship. He's going to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more, which is great. He's also moving content moderation to Texas instead of California, which is banter. So now the cynical version is he just realises we've got a new regime, it's the MAGA era, and I want to be mates with Trump, who said that I should that if I interfere with the 2024 election, he should spend the rest of his life in prison. So he did mention he might be a bit scared of that. He was involved in that in Facebook suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop scandal, and I feel that he didn't like being a part of all that from watching.
And also the suppression of arguments about gender and sex, what is biological sex and whatnot. You get banned for saying there are two sexes.
They were on the wrong side of this, and now he's correcting. But the weird thing is the people, of course, the people who don't like this, the lefties, this person, Ressa, is saying that this is a big problem. It's an extremely dangerous time. I've seen all this from the lefties. They just call it disinformation. They're worried about this because to them it's disinformation. To other people it's information.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I think we can all agree if people think they're getting their facts just directly from Facebook, then something's horribly wrong. But we know that. The community notes thing, I think, is quite good because that sort of first-hand experience people are putting down, aren't they?
Yeah. People have loads of different views come together, and it's an aggregate, so that's why it works.
GB News, the People's Channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, very good morning to you. You're watching on the telly, you're listening on the radio. This is Breakfast on GB News with Eamonn and Ellie, and with Christopher and Don, who are reviewing the newspapers this morning. And the headline, Don, in the Daily Mail, a worry that licence fee was actually paid to Hamas.
Yes, well, yeah, this is going to annoy everybody, to be honest with you. This is the documentary that the BBC put out, Gaza, How to Survive a War Zone, the story of what's happening in Gaza told by children. OK, sounds like a great idea, doesn't it? But the problem was the children involved were pretty much all 3 of the main ones in there, the sons and daughters of people that were Hamas, basically. One was a police officer. The young lad, the main child narrator, Abdullah, his dad was linked to the agriculture ministry. Basically, it's all Hamas. So the BBC said, oh, we didn't realise this was done by an independent production company. So it's nothing to do with us. But you know, Eamonn, from back in the day, if you're a journalist, you actually check your sources. You actually find out who these people are. You don't just say, oh, it wasn't us, it was a production company. But we now found out this story's moved it on.
That's what the newspapers say nowadays.
Well...
They say when things come up, you know, and they write a story about you, they say, oh, well, we took it from this production company.
Didn't know.
So it's not our journalists, not our papers, it's not our responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're going to sue someone, sue them.
It's actually rubbish. But the story's moved on because, I mean, the Mail have dug up the contract between the BBC and the production company, which literally says permission will be sought from the parents, guardians every time we film with them. The producers will act and work as we would in the UK. So basically, the BBC have a contract with the production company saying we will know everything about who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and that we're dealing with children here. We have to get parental responsibility, etc., etc. So the BBC must have known about this.
Yeah. Well, to even get it commissioned, you think?
Exactly, Ellie. It's basic. It's Route 1 journalism.
Well, I don't think they did know about it. I think the theory exists that they should know about it or they could know about it.
But they're just so rubbish they didn't.
But life being life and business being business and everybody being busy, they just go, yeah, sign that form, good. And they don't bother checking.
Oh, come on, with something as sensitive as this. Any case, I mean, it was pulled off of the BBC iPlayer now, and there is a full inquiry going on about it. But basically, this was made with licence payers' money, your money, licence fee payers' money, and it's probably gone to Hamas. Fantastic.
Wow.
I mean, with such a sensitive subject, at least do the basic checks. I'm sorry, it's really annoying.
OK, give us your views on that. Much appreciated.
Well, a BBC spokesman has said, as the BBC has previously explained, the film was edited and directed from London, as independent international journalists are not allowed into Gaza. The film gives audiences a rare glimpse of Gaza during the war, as well as an insight into the children's lives. It hears the voices of other Gazan civilians, several of whom voice anti-Hamas sentiments.
Similar Gazan civilians we saw cheering the handover of the coffins of dead babies.
Yeah. Biggins, we've got a minute and a half here to talk about AirPods in your ears from Apple.
They're launching today that this will become the new way for a hearing aid, which I think is a very good idea. Because I think, you know, people have a look at someone and they see that they've got something behind their ear, and, you know, it's a very not attractive thing to have. And suddenly everybody uses an AirPod. Even I've got 2 sets of those white AirPods, and they're brilliant. And I think it's a very good way, because I think they're marvellous for letting people hear, and I think they look good as well.
Are these ones going to look better? Are they going to be less obvious?
What, the white... The white...
The new ones.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't say here.
It's the same shape AirPods that you would know, and I think you've just got a set as well. But this time there's a new set of technology that you can install on them, and it works as a hearing aid.
Yeah.
So it cancels out all other noise and just kind of focuses on the person who you're talking to.
But I think trendy. It's
and trendy as well. They're hoping to remove the stigma, I suppose, of wearing hearing aids.
Exactly.
Some people may feel. I'm actually talking to Apple about this later on this afternoon, so we will have an interview on Breakfast tomorrow morning with Apple on these new Apple AirPods.
Well, I think it's a brilliant idea.
What? OK, my friend. Dawn and Christopher, we will leave it there. We'll be back with the guys in about 40 minutes' time. But right now, let's go to Catherine. She's got your weather update.
Despite the morning rain, it'll be a nice, warm, cosy day ahead. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. The rain will be clearing its way eastwards through today, then sunshine and showers with lighter winds compared to Sunday. So we've got this band of rain across the southeast through this morning. That will clear its way eastwards, then turning drier for a time with some sunny spells breaking through. But we'll also see some showers developing across the southeastern England into parts of East Anglia. But further towards the west, plenty of sunshine. Northern Ireland seeing frequent showers that could be on the heavy side. Likewise for northwestern Scotland, but feeling pleasant in that sunshine. Highs of up to 13 or 14 degrees with lighter winds too. Now, as we head through Monday evening, we'll still see a few showers across the southern parts of England, but most places further towards the east should see some clear skies. A band of heavy and organised showers across western areas, but we'll see temperatures start falling away, so some of the showers across parts of Scotland could turn wintry over the highest ground. So as we go ahead through Monday evening and overnight, this showery outbreaks of rain will continue to push their way eastwards. Further towards the southwest of England, though, we have a band of more persistent rain just pushing up from the south, and that will move its way slowly eastwards into parts of London and East Anglia. Behind that, clearer spells developing. We'll start to see the winds drawing in more of a northwesterly, so actually turning a little bit colder on Tuesday morning, perhaps with a touch of frost for some of us. So through Tuesday morning is a damp start across eastern parts of England. Hazy spells of sunshine behind that. Then showers will start developing more widely as we go into the afternoon. So it's a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers on Tuesday. Generally the winds are a touch lighter though, and we'll see them coming in more of a westerly direction. So temperatures a touch down on what we've seen in recent days. Bye-bye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
The latest GB News travel.
Good morning, I'm Russell Holding. In Dundee, the A92 Tay Road Bridge is closed each way to high-sided vehicles because of strong winds. Trains have been stopped between Glasgow Central and Kilmarnock because of an incident, and there are delays of up to half an hour and some cancelled trains between Glasgow Central and Carlisle because of poor weather conditions. On Merseyside, Hornby Road in Liverpool is closed for an investigation. In Cambridgeshire, the A428 is closed each way between Caxton Gibbet and St Neots, where weekend roadworks have overrun. Buses replaced trains between Aberdare and Pontypridd because of flooding. In London, the A2 is closed each way along Shooters Hill Road in Blackheath after an accident. On the M26 in Kent, it's taking over half an hour and queues approaching the M25 because of roadworks. And in East Sussex, the A259 is closed each way off the A23 at the Palace Pier roundabout in Brighton because of an unsafe building.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, gbnews.com.
Don't miss your chance to be one of two big winners in our latest Great British giveaway, as we have two prize bundles that have to be won. There's 2 lots of a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash. You'll also receive a brand new iPhone 16, along with £500 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. Hurry, lines close on the 7th of March. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus SMS to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Today marks 3 years since the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
The Prime Minister issues an impassioned plea for us to help.
What I have seen only makes me more determined to stand up for Ukraine, to put them in the best possible position and make sure they have the security and the hope that they need.
Well, that's as President Zelenskyy reveals he's willing to give up his position to secure peace for his country.
Our Home and Security Editor Mark White is live from a training facility in the east of England with British and Ukrainian troops.
Well, we're in a mock-up village, an urban training facility in the east of England, and Britain really is leading the way here with 52,000 Ukrainian troops trained since this operation began 3 years ago.
But as the Prime Minister and other European leaders head to Washington, D.C. this week, how will they navigate an American president who thinks this?
This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago.
Well, there's been an election in Germany, and change there as the Conservative CDU party claims victory. But it's the surging ADF in second place, which sends shockwaves through Europe and around the world.
The Pope remains in a critical condition as the Vatican reveals an initial mild kidney problem, as millions of Catholics around the world continue to pray for his recovery.
Let's Dance. Broadcasting legend Angela Rippon joins us live in the studio to discuss her nationwide campaign to use dance to improve health and connect with others.
A danger to life amber weather alert has been issued for parts of the UK as heavy rain and deep floods hit parts of Wales overnight. Here's what to expect for the rest of the day.
After an unsettled Sunday, Monday promises sunny spells for many of us. I'll have all of the details coming up shortly.
And in the sport this morning, surely Liverpool will win the Premier League title now. They beat Manchester City 2-0 at the Etihad and are 11 points clear with 11 games to go. Rangers, not so good. Sacked their manager, Philippe Clement, and now look for their fourth manager in 2 years. Max Verstappen was so upset he was booed at the F1 launch last week. He'll never attend one here again.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Monday morning. You're starting your day and you're starting your week with us. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
And also a very special good morning to you if you're listening to us on radio. Once again, you're very welcome.
Yes. How amazing is Angela Rippon? I'm so excited to talk to her. I think she's on later this hour. No, she's talking to us in the 8 o'clock hour about her new initiative to get everybody up and dancing.
Nice. She's in her 80s, isn't she?
She's incredible, isn't she?
Absolutely amazing.
She looks amazing. She's Strictly last year, I believe. The year before.
Well, that's not why she's famous for dancing. She's famous
No,
for
of course
dancing
not.
because of...
Morecambe and Wise.
Yeah.
Of course.
But when you look at her and how she could kick and raise her leg back then, she'd have been a young woman in her 20s, I'm sure, or 30s. But she always looks the same. She looks exactly the same.
Yeah. When you do every time I hear you do that headline, Let's Dance, I keep thinking, put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Let's dance. So I'd rather you did that next time, if that's okay.
Well.
No, she is incredible, so we're really looking forward to talking to her. Because it's not just about the physical getting up and dance, is it? And being good for your physical health. Mental health as well.
See, my mum does it. My mum says, by the way, happy birthday. My mum, she's 83 today, line dancing every Monday.
It's very good for you.
Yeah, very good.
My granny's still waltzing.
Yeah,
93.
Well, your mum's 83 today, and you're 83 on Wednesday.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're looking forward.
Cheap jive, I mean, you're better than that.
Building to your birthday. Where do you dance in the house? What's your favourite room to dance in? I say the kitchen for most people.
Yeah.
No? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I had a dance lesson on Friday.
You had a dance lesson?
Yeah. Well, not a professional one. My fiance's sister was teaching me how to Irish jive. And we did it in the lounge. A few roses down. Went very well, I think.
Irish dancing for me from the waist up. I'm absolutely magnificent.
Well, let's dance on to the news that you're waking up to this morning. See you later, Paul.
Thank you.
Today is a special anniversary. It marks 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. We were here in this very studio making that announcement. Yesterday, Keir Starmer made an announcement. He reaffirmed his support for Ukraine.
Instability in Europe always washes up on our shores. And this is a generational moment. I've been saying for some time that we Europeans, including the United Kingdom, have to do more for our defence and security. The US is right about that. In this new era, we can't cling on to the comforts of the past.
Well, let's speak now to our Home and Security editor, Mark White, who is live at a training facility in the east of England. And Mark, it's just proof, isn't it, of the support from the UK towards Ukraine is steadfast with the training of Ukrainian troops.
Yes, there's no doubt Britain has been leading the way, but other nations over the last few years have joined in with this training programme, and they now boast 13 other nations. The latest nation, Albania, have come to join in the training of these Ukrainian troops, giving them the kind of vital combat skills that are required to operate and to survive back in the war zone in Ukraine. Where we are at the moment is an urban village. Effectively, it's a mock-up of a village here. You can see a number of the houses in this street, rubble-strewn street, and these houses, these buildings are, some of them rigged with booby traps to try to make it as realistic for these troops as they're training as possible, and we're going to see a bit of that in action later on today. This is just one of the scenarios, of course, around this village here. They've also got other scenarios out in the open that gives them an indication of the kind of trench warfare, the attritional fighting in trenches that we've seen in parts of Ukraine along the eastern flank and its southern flank as well. And who better now to tell us more about this than Colonel Boardman, the commanding officer of Operation Interflex, this British led training programme for the Ukrainian troops. Thanks for speaking to us live on GB News, Colonel Boardman. You were here at the outset. I mean, the things really have changed. It is a much more sophisticated programme now.
Yeah, that's true. The training when we began was really basic infantry training, turning civilians into soldiers over the course of 5 weeks. We've fleshed that training out significantly over the last 2.5 years. We now offer leadership training for non-commissioned officers and officers. We train Ukrainian instructors, and we offer a fuller package for the basic recruits.
Well, we're standing in front of the wonderful Grand Hotel. I don't think you probably want to stay the night in there. It gets a bit noisy, I gather, on training days. How realistic are these courses?
We do our best to keep them as close to the real reality as possible. As you said just now, we run a number of different scenarios. We train the recruits in the rural environment, the urban environment, trench warfare. We try and replicate as far as possible the conditions they'll go back into, and using some of the British Army's training estate to do that.
And as I say, you know, when you first started, it was just basic infantry training now. All kinds of, not just the urban warfare and the trench warfare, but the new reality of drone warfare as well. You give those recruits all of the kind of information and assistance you can to guard against possible attack from above.
That's absolutely right, yeah. We pack an awful lot into 49 days of training. The drone threat is a new thing for all of us, frankly, in the military. It's an area we're doing our best to keep up with what's happening at the front line, to give the recruits the best ability to defend themselves against that. That's one of the strands. We're not running a drone course specifically. That's one of the strands that we need to teach alongside mine awareness, dealing with booby traps, as you mentioned earlier, and frankly operating in an environment which is pretty challenging for anybody.
Now we're obviously marking the 3rd anniversary of the main Russian invasion into Ukraine. We know it happened, of course, first of all in 2014. But that main invasion 3 years ago, you're seeing now 52,000 Ukrainians trained here. Many of them have been plucked from civilian life, but I guess they all share a determination to defend their homeland.
They absolutely do, yeah. And the three-year anniversary for me just shows the extraordinary resilience of the country of Ukraine, its people and its military, to resist Russian aggression for so long. The people that we train, some of them are experienced soldiers who are already in the Ukraine army and come here for leadership training. An awful lot of them are civilians who've been called up to defend their country, and the patriotism that we see is staggering, and it's humbling to work alongside them, to be honest.
OK, Colonel Boardman, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us live on GB News, the commanding officer of Operation Interflex. This operation now led by the British, but involving 13 other nations, which has so far trained some 52,000 Ukrainians, giving them the kind of vital skills they need to be able to deal with the horrors that await them back in Ukraine.
Thanks, Mark. Very realistic recreation there.
Yeah.
Looks as if Mark is in Eastern Europe there. We go to political commentator Oscar Reddrop with his take on this. 3 years, the anniversary today. Who would have thought?
I know, and I remember being at number 10 at the time when the war began. And you know, when you see clips like that, and again, really good reporting there. You realise that actually the support, and it's not just financial, that's often the thing that's talked about, but the real support on the ground that you can see that in terms of training Ukrainian soldiers that this country's provided, for us to kind of slope shoulders or shirk responsibility or support or commitment at what hopefully, and I know we've had false dawns on this, hopefully is the 11th hour, I think makes no sense at all. And on the right, in inverted commas, it's been an interesting couple of weeks in terms of very supportive of Trump in many ways, but kind of standing back and almost excusing or trying to explain some of the language he's used against Zelenskyy over there. And actually, you have to step back and you go, right is right and wrong is wrong. And Zelenskyy, you know, saying that he will step aside if it means peace in terms of a NATO security deal, you know.
Do you know, Oscar, I think it's very interesting. I would very much think, like you do the right thing, what is right, what is wrong, whatever. I don't think Donald Trump thinks like that.
No.
I think it's a business deal, and I think it's quite a complex issue here. We've got to look, this is not just a deal between Ukraine and Russia, not that he has Ukraine involved in it so far, but this is about what's in it for America. And what's in it is he wants to reduce his funding of NATO and his troop dependency in Europe, because things have moved on from Europe in the American world.
Yeah, no, spot on. And in fairness, you know, that huge mandate Donald Trump has now, do you think he was voted in by the American people and his voters to, you know, shell out, you know, billions and billions of pounds on a conflict that is on the other side, you forget, in a completely different continent? Absolutely not. And so when Starmer visits on Thursday, I think it's probably the most monumental kind of diplomatic visit that a Prime Minister in this country has been on in years and years and years in terms of significance, both for us at home and Europe and, you know, just global kind of stability. if Trump feels like, if we don't bring gifts to the table, if we don't bring real self-reliance in terms of raising our defence spending and actually saying to Donald Trump, you know what, you guys in America, you've put a lot of money behind this campaign in support of Ukraine. We're very grateful for that. But, you know, we agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you, Donald. We need to start paying our way a little bit more. We don't need to be so reliant on you. And in that exchange, you would hope that Donald Trump understands, and you made this point off camera, actually, Eamonn, or when we were last on, which is spot on, that actually it's completely in their interest. If we kind of slope shoulder in front of Putin too much, then Taiwan and China is completely, potentially next on the agenda. And that is so relevant to Donald Trump. And that's the one... We've got a weak hand because we're not the power that we were. We really do have a weak hand, but that's one bit of self-interest that you could probably tap into in terms of Donald Trump and geopolitical kind of security for America.
How can Starmer score points on this? Because he's going to go to Washington on Thursday, he's going to meet with Donald Trump, and he's going to emerge as if him and Donald have had a brainwave, and he agrees with Donald and he thinks, do you know what? You're absolutely right, I'm going to increase defence spending. But he's not going to increase defence spending to the level it should be at, and he is only going to increase something that he had already promised to increase but never give a date on.
And it's a really interesting point, because if Donald Trump... Because, you know, we get carried away, you know, he says like really bombastic and not very palatable stuff. But Donald Trump is not a fool. He's not an idiot, despite how some people may try and describe him. If Donald Trump gets the sense that any of this stuff that coming from Starmer is wishy-washy, or as you put it, not really meant, or, you know, it doesn't really kind of stand up to scrutiny, he'll dismiss him. And this has potential to be really quite potentially embarrassing for Starmer, this visit, you know, because if he gets kind of outmanoeuvred, if he gets dismissed very abruptly, and actually even on that language, rhetoric level, and kind of, I hate the word, but the optics of it, if he gets kind of machoed and feels kind of diminutive, because then this could be really, really damaging for Starmer. It's a huge opportunity, because we can lead from the front. I know Macron's going first, but there is that special relationship that we can lean on. It's dwindling a little bit over the years, but we still have that. If Keir Starmer gets kind of sent packing, it's really quite damaging for him, because already we see on a domestic front, and don't get me wrong, I really want Starmer as my Prime Minister to do well this week. You know, forget that I used to work for Boris and all that rubbish. You know, I really hope he does well. But domestically, he's been a lawyer, not a leader. There's no charisma, there's no drive, there's no inspiration, and he really needs to turn that on this head in front of a president like Trump.
Because I put it to you, we know what he's going to say, we know the optics of this, what he's going to make this look like. He's going to go to Washington, he's going to make it look as though he and the president have decided to increase Britain's spending, and that is simply not the case. He knows exactly how much he's going to raise it by. He was going to raise it maybe in a year's time or so, but he'll decide to bring that forward. So basically, it's an illusion.
Well, if Donald Trump gets, as I said, a whiff that it is merely that, then it's going to be hugely embarrassing. We need to do deals with the country, whether that be paying our own way, or actually just in kind of, you know, kind of sharing relationship with trade and our economies. You know, we're a weak economy. We need America.
OK,
we need America.
It should be seen as an opportunity.
Thanks, Oscar.
Thank you very much. Now, at 16 minutes past 7, let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom this morning. And Pope Francis remains in hospital, where he's experienced mild kidney problems, but continues to be alert and responsive. That's according to the Vatican. The Pontiff has asked for prayers as he continues to receive treatment in hospital for double pneumonia.
A British couple in their 70s have been arrested by the Taliban in Afghanistan. They are Peter Reynolds, who's 79, and his wife Barbara, who's 75. They've been detained as they travelled to their home in the country's Bamyan province on the 1st of February. The couple have been running training projects in Afghanistan, teaching Afghanistan parents how to do just that. Their daughter has told the BBC she hasn't heard from her parents in more than 2 weeks.
The papal drama Conclave has emerged as one to beat at next week's Academy Awards after sweeping the Screen Actors Guild Awards overnight in Los Angeles, winning Best Film and Best Ensemble. Other winners last night included Demi Moore from her work in the film Substance and Timothée Chalamet for portraying Bob Dylan.
Let's get up to date with the weather. There's been a lot of rain overnight. Let's find out.
A chilly start will give way to a lovely, warm afternoon. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. The rain will be clearing its way eastwards through today, then sunshine and showers with lighter winds compared to Sunday. So we've got this band of rain across the southeast through this morning. That will clear its way eastwards, then turning drier for a time with some sunny spells breaking through. But we'll also see some showers developing across the southeastern England into parts of East Anglia. But further towards the west, plenty of sunshine. Northern Ireland seeing frequent showers that could be on the heavy side. Likewise for northwestern Scotland, but feeling pleasant in that sunshine. Highs of up to 13 or 14 degrees with lighter winds too. Now, as we head through Monday evening, we'll still see a few showers across the southern parts of England, but most places further towards the east should see some clear skies. A band of heavy and organised showers across western areas, but we'll see temperatures start falling away. So some of the showers across parts of Scotland could turn wintry over the highest ground. So as we go ahead through Monday evening and overnight, the showery outbreaks of rain will continue to push their way eastwards. Further towards the southwest of England, though, we have a band of more persistent rain just pushing up from the south, and that will move its way slowly eastwards into parts of London and East Anglia. Behind that, clearer spells developing. We'll start to see the winds drawing in more of a northwesterly, so actually turning a little bit colder on Tuesday morning, perhaps with a touch of frost for some of us. So through Tuesday morning is a damp start across eastern parts of England. Hazy spells of sunshine behind that. Then showers will start developing more widely as we go into the afternoon. So it's a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers on Tuesday. Generally the winds are a touch lighter though, and we'll see them coming in more of a westerly direction. So temperatures a touch down on what we've seen in recent days. Bye-bye.
A nice bright morning will generate a lovely warm day, right through to the evening. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
We're just hearing from the Vatican as to the condition, the latest condition of the Pope and how he spent last night. They're saying Pope Francis had a good night in hospital. He slept well. He is resting today. OK, that is despite reports of him having mild kidney problems overnight, but they seem to be under control.
Yeah. Continues, of course, to battle double pneumonia and a complex lung infection. But he did attend Mass yesterday in hospital, and we were hearing that he was alert yesterday and awake. So positive statement there from the Vatican that the Pope had a good night in hospital and is resting today.
21 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. A very good morning to you on television and on radio. It's time for the Great British Giveaway.
Yes, if you want to be one of two new winners, each with a new iPhone, shopping vouchers and £10,000 in tax-free cash, here are all of the details that you need.
Don't miss your chance to be one of two big winners in our latest Great British Giveaway, as we have two prize bundles that have to be won. There's two lots of a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash. You'll also receive a brand new iPhone 16, along with £500 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. Hurry, lines close on the 7th of March. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
OK, so here's the question. We've been talking about the Prime Minister heading to Washington this week. So, should he stand up or suck up to President Trump?
Yeah, that's the question. How should he play it? So do let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say. We're going to be debating just that next.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Feathers McGraw, Wallace and Gromit's their villain, has become an unlikely hit at UK tattoo parlours. He's menacing.
He is, yeah.
And
in fact, he doesn't speak, and he's got this glove on top of his head trying to convince us he's a chicken or something.
And that is a real tattoo that someone has decided to have there. What do you two think about tattoos? Are they express themselves? Or?
I love it. So I've basically got Dr. King.
There we go.
Me.
Oh, there he goes. Nice. He's showing us.
If you can't fly, run.
That's
probably slightly more meaningful than having the villainous England.
Oh,
come on,
Trey, you won't get
Feathers McGraw. Maybe not. It's kind of got that kind of, you know, when you go abroad and you know B4, Magaluf, and you Tenerife, and you get a quick tattoo. It's looking like that,
chest,
or like a pirate or something. It's kind of got that vibe. Not for me. However, I do get the sentimentality around it. You know, some people have grown up on Wallace and Gromit and they love it and it has meaning. And he is a well-written character, so I get it.
Brilliant, isn't it?
I prefer my tattoos a bit more meaningful.
Bit more, yeah. I feel like as well, there's a surge in it. Lots of people have had it, but then is it then going to become unpopular because of it? And how many people regret the tattoos? Apparently, not just 14% of people regret tattoos.
Wow.
See, I think that's where the meaningful side comes into it. I've got a couple of meaningful tattoos, and I know I will never get bored of them. Not one on my wrist, one on my ankle. They're not hidden, but I think because they mean something to me, I'll never get bored.
Yes, exactly. I think that's important. If you're gonna, you know, a tattoo's for life, isn't it?
That's the thing.
It's got to mean something.
I'll be indecisive. I think I'll get something.
I want to keep on my body forever.
If I had about 6 or 7 pints and then stumbled into a tattoo parlour,
you'd come out with
that. Chaotic. Be able to
a disaster could happen. Then I walk out. Oh no, I've got this for the rest of my life.
You might become addicted.
Well, let's hope not.
Some people do.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. The Prime Minister is set to head to the White House this week to meet with President Trump, the first in-person meeting between the two leaders since Trump took office.
Now, this comes amidst a critical time for the two countries, including a disagreement over Ukraine, as the Prime Minister reaffirms his support. But President Trump has said this.
This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago.
So how should Sir Keir Starmer approach his meeting with President Trump? Well, we're joined now by former Labour spokesman James Mathewson and Chair for Republicans Overseas UK, Greg Swenson.
Greg,
morning, gentlemen.
Hi, Greg, can we start with you? If you were Keir Starmer, if you were advising him, what would you say to him as he goes inside the White House to, I don't know if it's negotiate or inform President Trump?
Well, I think, first of all, he should have some conversation, whether that's through advisors or some of his staff, you know, about the topics, and maybe have a couple of cards that he can play. And I think he needs to be more specific. He can't just make these, you know, these rough promises, like with defense spending is probably the most obvious. And I think he also could look at what's important to President Trump domestically as well as globally. What's really worked for President Trump is liberating the economy, deregulation, tax reform. Take a few pages out of that playbook. I know he can't go full MAGA, right? But he can work around the margins, work around the edges on things like energy. Maybe make a commitment to buy LNG, a certain amount of LNG, from the U.S. That checks a few boxes. It lowers prices for consumers here in the United Kingdom, lowers prices for businesses, puts a few shekels in the pockets of American energy producers. So those are things that can work for both parties and can be more specific.
James, what do you make of that Keir Starmer has to go with meat on the bone, has to come offering gifts, so to speak?
Gifts for the new king in the West, as he's self-appointed now. But I don't think he does need to come crawling, which I don't think, by the way, is what Greg's saying. I don't think he's saying that he needs to come being a sycophant. I think he has. I think Donald Trump has enough sycophants in Britain with Nigel Farage and the reform lot going at that angle. I think the way Keir Starmer needs to come at this is with a combination of tolerance for Donald Trump, which, you know, is I'm surprised enough to hear myself say that, but he needs to come with a degree of tolerance for Donald Trump, a degree of flexibility and the ability to adapt to whatever the hell happens in that room, because let's be honest, as we saw with Netanyahu, as we saw with the King of Jordan's visit, it can go any way, and I don't think world leaders often expect it to go the way that Trump's going to go. He could, depending on how he's feeling on a whim, announce something or change something on the ground. They need to be prepared for that. And I think on top of that, I think he needs to be strong more than anything. And he needs to come to the room with his red lines that he is not willing to compromise on, because Donald Trump, above all else, seems to respect strength.
No chance, James. He won't know what red lines are. There are no red lines between Starmer and Donald Trump. He wants to make it look as though there is, but basically he's going to emerge from the White House nodding to Donald Trump and making it look as though this was negotiated, when basically he will have been told by Donald Trump what's going to happen.
Well, let's hope that's not the case. I think that's a potential. You know, you rightly point that out. That seems to be the way that Donald Trump is bullying the world into his way of doing things. But I don't think it needs to be like that. And I think if Keir Starmer just realised, look who Donald Trump looks up to the most on the world stage. Vladimir Putin. That's the person who he looks up to the most. And has he compromised on things when it comes to Donald Trump?
No, but he's a hard man. He is a hard man, Greg.
Yeah, I wouldn't say compromise. I mean, I wouldn't say that he likes Putin or that he looks up to him more than anybody else. Look what he did in his first term. You know, we had Obama and Biden shipping blankets and ready-to-eat meals to an airbase, a U.S. airbase in Poland, and then trucking them to Kyiv because they didn't want to provoke Putin. Trump comes in, it's Javelin missiles at the beginning of his term. He increased pressure on Russia. He put sanctions on Nord Stream 2, which, of course, Biden reversed as soon as he got in office. And 300 Russian soldiers were killed at the command of President Trump in Syria. Like, this is not someone who looks up to Putin. He understands that Putin is who he is, and he has to be dealt with. But, you know, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. There's an argument to that. But I don't think I don't think Starmer and Trump have terribly different views on Ukraine. And, you know, I would hope that Keir Starmer would like to end this war. That's clearly President Trump's focus right now, is ending the war. The things that Keir's proposing right now in support of Ukraine is not in conflict with what the U.S. is proposing as well. It's just that we don't think it will work, right? We've been trying that for 3 years.
It's how we get Donald Trump to that understanding as well, though, because we know this is an impulsive man. This is a man who is unstable and who can make decisions on a whim. These are not all strategized, and I know there are Republican pundits left, right, and centre trying to run around and tell everyone there's some strategy overall to this. But we know that it's chaos with Donald Trump a lot of the time, and he needs to be prepared for that. And I think coming in strong with things like, you know, a state visit. You know, I'm a Republican when it comes to the monarchy, but I think using them as a tool and being able to show Donald Trump some willingness and say, come and visit, come and have a state visit, because he looks up to the crown. He loves that idea of Britishness, as many Americans do.
We are out of time. Thank you very much, both of you, James Matthewson and Greg Swenson. Thank you very much indeed. Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/yoursay. How should Keir Starmer play it on Thursday?
Up next, the BBC set to be grilled today over a documentary which features the son of a Hamas minister. We'll be talking to the Shadow Culture Secretary Stuart Andrew next.
The latest GB News travel. Good morning, I'm Russell Holding. Trains have been stopped between Glasgow Central and Kilmarnock because of an incident, and there are delays of up to half an hour with some cancelled trains between Glasgow Central and Carlisle because of poor weather conditions. In County Durham, the A167 is closed each way at Newton Aycliffe after an accident. On Merseyside, Hornby Road in Liverpool is closed for an investigation. In Monmouthshire, the A4042 is closed in both directions, south of the A40 at Abergavenny because of flooding. Buses replaced trains between Aberdare and Pontypridd because of flooding. In London, the A2 is closed in both directions along Shooters Hill Road in Blackheath after an accident causing delays. On the M26 in Kent, it's taking over half an hour in queues approaching the M25 because of roadworks. In West Sussex, the A23 is blocked southbound by an accident at Bolney, and in East Sussex, the A259 is closed in Brighton because of an unsafe building.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, gbnews.com.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
Will, please bring us up to date.
or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons,
Very, very curious.
we bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is-
you're
the failure is-
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Whether you're watching or listening to us this morning at 7:35, and we're joined now by Shadow Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, Stuart Andrew. Good to see you this morning, Stuart. Can I start by asking you about this Gaza documentary scandal from the BBC? Concern from the Conservatives that licence fee payers' cash has made its way to Hamas.
Yes, it's deeply concerning because clearly the proper checks were not made when commissioning this programme, and the person who was involved in this is the son of a member of Hamas, and that just simply is unacceptable. That is why I wrote to the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, and Kemi has written to Tim Davie for the BBC saying we need a proper investigation into this, and nothing less than that is acceptable.
OK, can I ask you about the third anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine? Sir Keir Starmer speaking in Scotland over the weekend, reiterating his support for the country. He's, of course, meeting Donald Trump on Thursday. How should he play it with President Trump?
Well, look, I think we all stand, and we have done as a nation, stand united with Ukraine, and it's right to defend itself, and the people of Ukraine should be in our thoughts at this moment. Yeah, you know, I had the great pleasure of having a Ukraine family living with me for 2.5 years. I've seen from them directly the impact that this is having, you know, the worry about their eldest son being on the front line. But they have done so because they are fighting for their freedom, and that is something that we should support. In terms of the meeting that the Prime Minister has with the President this week, I think what he must do is agree that Europe needs to step up, and that is why things like increasing defence spending to 2.5%, as we proposed, must be done by 2030, so that Europe can stand united, and we can build up stronger defence for the whole of the continent.
Stuart, do you see that Ukrainian family that you took in and you had living with you? What would have, if you don't mind me asking, what would have happened to them? Would they have returned home, or do they settle here? Because the reason I bring this up is the amount of Ukrainian people that I tend to bump into or talk to in shops and things. It is amazing. It's quite heartening to see that people are well and truly settled here.
Yes, they certainly have. And, they made sure that as soon as they arrived here, they were looking for work. I had a mother and her youngest son. The father and the eldest son remained in Ukraine. So, it's really challenging for them. They're obviously apart from each other for such a long time, worried about those that are left in Ukraine. But, it was an absolute privilege having them. And they became very much part of our family, and they got involved with many of the things that were going on in our local community, for example. And as I said, finding work was a key priority for them.
And they went on to settle in the UK as part of this resettlement programme?
So the mother and the son are here still, yes. But the father and the eldest son are still out there in Ukraine because, as I say, the eldest son was on the front line. He's back at home now for a bit, which is good. But it just goes to show that this is the real human impact of Putin's illegal invasion on that country.
Well, what a wonderful thing for you and your family to do, to take that mother and her son in. So good to see you this morning, Stuart. Andrew, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much indeed. Paul Coit with the sport. A bit to look back on yesterday and to look forward to a Yorkshire derby tonight.
Yeah, Yorkshire derby tonight. That's Leeds versus Sheffield United. So it's right at the top of the Championship. We know how good the Championship is.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's going to be a heck of a game up there tonight. As far as looking back, it looks like Liverpool. I can't see anybody's going to bet against Liverpool winning the title. I mean, there's 64 points. Arsenal are second on 53. Arsenal need Liverpool to lose 4 out of their next 11 games. And we looked at it earlier. They've lost 5 of their last 76.
No, it ain't going to happen.
It ain't going to happen.
Man United need them to lose as well.
Yes.
They'll draw level 20 titles with us.
Oh, I see. Yes. Not just because you don't like them. It's all about the amount of titles.
Statistical thing, yeah.
You know what? I don't want to worry, but I think you're going to have to make peace with that, because I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to have to make peace. I did that with Arsenal last year, and I tried to make peace with the fact that Arsenal win the title. Didn't have to need peace. Didn't have to make the peace. But Arsenal, close, but not close enough. Quick thing about Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo playing at the weekend. So he's playing against El Ettifaq. Is, I believe, the correct pronunciation, which is where Steven Gerrard was. And there was a foul on John Duran, who was playing at Aston Villa. It was ridiculous. But anyway, a real fit of peak. I love a fit of peak. Have a look at this. Here comes Cristiano Ronaldo kicking the ball away, just being very angry and very upset about the whole thing. Here we go. Right, so there we are. There's a little bit of argy-bargy, and I'm not having any of it. I'm not having any of it. Just boots the ball away. And it's, I love a fit of peak, and quite frankly, you don't get much better than that.
Did he get booked for that?
I don't. Look, there we are. Look. What's going on? What are you talking about?
You're talking about me? What?
Nonsense. I just kicked the ball. Yeah. I just felt like it. Go on, away with you.
I'm going to say this about him, Paul. And I've thought about this long and hard.
Right.
He is the best player ever to have played football.
Do you think so?
I think athletically.
Do you?
Goal scoring ability. You just have to look at him. And his passion. Look at him. He's 47 years of age or something now. And he still cares enough to kick the ball away and be involved in all of that.
That's, you know what? It's a true professional. He's got to win. He still looks fantastic and he still plays well. I would doubt I would be. He's certainly in the top 5, but I wouldn't say the greatest.
Would you not? Who would you see? But you won't be able to give me an answer as to who.
Martin Chivers played for Spurs. No. Sorry, Martin. I'd say Maradona, and I would say Messi. Above him. I would.
But I'd put him ahead of George Best, even.
Really? Would you?
Yeah, I do. I honestly don't think there's any argument.
That's a hell of a statement.
Technically, he is the best player ever to have played.
Well,
all round.
Okay.
But anyway, you're welcome to disagree. You're welcome to have your view. Yeah. Let us have it. We'll be back right after this.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, welcome to your winter sun forecast. Sunshine and showers for many with snow over the Alps and feeling less cold in Greece. Plenty of sunshine across the Canary Islands, feeling pleasant here, highs of 19 degrees. There'll be sunshine and showers elsewhere, falling as snow over the Alps and across Greece. Temperatures are going to be rising with temperatures up to 13 or 14 degrees. Looking ahead then, plenty of sunny spells, a few showers are still around and feeling pleasant in that sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Emily Carver. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 PM every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. Maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 PM and 5 AM as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
It's very emotional. It's designed to shock. What do you want people to take away from that advert?
I think, very sadly, a lot of people don't realise the violence and death that's prevalent in the dairy industry. For a cow to produce milk, she needs to be made pregnant, and then for humans to have that milk, the calves are snatched away. So that goes on for around 5 years. The cows are made pregnant every year. Terrible diseases occur because they are producing 10 times more milk than is natural. And then they are killed. The calves that are taken away, if they're male calves, are shot. And for the female calves, just like their mums, they're going to go through the same thing.
We've got Kelly Seaton here, who appears to have a cow nudging you, Kelly, behind you. That cow looks quite content with you.
The industry has worked incredibly hard. We have an excellent resource in that we can use semen, so actually the amount of bull calves that are born is a lot less than what it used to be. We're working really hard to ensure that every calf goes down the right route. So actually shooting bull calves isn't a practice that takes place any longer.
We can be kind, we should be kind.
And I'm kind to my kids by giving them cow's milk, which is full of vitamins A, magnesium, zinc, B12, calcium, vitamin D. This is stuff that children need to grow, isn't it, Kelly? And I think what my problem is, Ben, is that your commercial is all about emotion. It's manipulating. It's not facts. You're not laying out facts about the dairy industry.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 AM.
Only on GB News.
I'm Tom Harwood. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 7:46. We're going through the papers with Dawn Neeson and Christopher Biggins. Morning, you two.
Morning.
And Dawn, let's start with this story, shall we, about this British couple in their 70s. They've been living in Afghanistan for years, haven't they?
Yes.
They've been arrested by the Taliban.
Yeah, it's a really worrying story. Peter and Barbie Reynolds, she's 75, he is 80. They have lived and worked in Afghanistan for 18 years, even staying there when the Taliban came to power in 2021. And they work with women and children. They run educational play classes for kids, pretty much, is what they do. And they've been there for a long time. And, you know, she's got an award from the Taliban for the work she's done. So it's all accepted, all above board, nothing wrong whatsoever. And suddenly they have been arrested. They were arrested in February. And initially they were in touch by text with their 4 children in this country.
Oh, 4 children.
Yeah, obviously grown children. But 3 days after they were arrested, the text stopped. Now, the Peter Reynolds has a heart condition and needs his medicine, and we're not sure if he's getting that. Obviously, huge concern. I mean, they've been there for... They got married in Kabul back in 1970. They just love the country. Yeah. And they do an amazing thing with the women and the kids out there. And now they've just completely gone silent.
The Taliban's big worry is, were they preaching religion?
That's what the Taliban is saying, but they say they were just teaching women and children educational needs, which obviously...
Parenting lessons.
Parenting lessons, yeah. Which, but as you know, the way women in particular are treated in Afghanistan is absolutely appalling. No education, not even allowed to be seen now. Windows have been blocked in case women
But here's the thing. When you look at what this poor couple are doing or whatever, and they're in their 70s, and then they're treated like this, I would be of the opinion, Biggins, why bother? Leave them all to it.
Absolutely. And they've been doing this for 18 years.
Yeah.
It's not as though they've just started doing it.
No.
And no one noticed. No one noticed what they were up to for 18 years.
Yeah. I mean, there's an agenda there, isn't there?
The reason the Taliban are doing it because the Americans have stopped funding, stopped any foreign aid going to Afghanistan. So the Taliban are now responding by holding hostage any foreigners in the country. This couple happen to be part of it now.
Yeah. Christopher, let's go on to the Screen Actors Guild Awards and the what's it called? What's the film you watched?
Conclave.
Conclave, right? Which
the big winner of the night.
Looking forward to see, which becomes very topical with the illness to the Holy Father. Yeah.
I didn't like it. Conclave.
Now, why?
I tell you why, and I think it's probably I should stop doing this. I watched it on my television at home. I didn't go to did you go to the cinema to see it?
No, I bought it off the telly.
Yes.
Hired it.
Did you do this legally or illegally?
Oh, no, legally.
You can rent it. $4.99 it was.
What channel? What channel does that?
If you've got a smart telly, you can rent it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Link to your Amazon account.
But I just don't know. I found watching it at home, there were too many distractions.
Yes.
You know, should I have a cup of tea? What do you say? You know, someone mentioned something, and I don't think you'll concentrate like you do when you're in a cinema. So I'm going to give it another chance because everybody I know says how wonderful it is. But I was bored by it.
It wasn't the most thrilling film I've ever seen.
No.
But it was beautiful. As in, you'll see it if you watch it on your telly tonight. It is. The cinematography is stunning. Every shot, I was like, wow. Wow, wow.
What awards did it win? Did it win for cinematography?
No, it won a very interesting award.
Two Screen Actor Guild Awards last night. Two of the big ones.
It won for outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture.
No.
Which I've never heard that award before. SAG, you know, I must tell you, SAG is I wish we had SAG over here, because if you're a member of SAG, you immediately get a theatrical pension.
Oh,
and it is incredible. A lot of people become almost millionaires through this pension. It's a wonderful organisation to be a member of, SAG.
So it's like a union.
It is absolutely like a union, and it's wonderful.
I mean, I must admit, I was just being completely shallow here. I was totally obsessed by what all the girls were wearing and how slim they all are now.
Well, Ozempic is doing the rounds.
Oh, my Lord, but these are women that didn't need to take Ozempic. They're not type 2 diabetics, I bet.
No.
The one I was pleased about was Demi Moore, because I think she deserved it. And she was, as was Timothée Chalamet, who won the Best Actor role.
A complete unknown. He's brilliant in that.
No, but in the awards here, recently, BAFTAs, I think it was, they were both ignored. But that's because they were American. Yeah. And of course, now they're Americans. In America, they're honoured. But I'm so pleased she won.
Excuse me for interrupting. Jane Fonda, who we saw there, she is amazing.
Amazing. Unbelievable.
So much to say. So much. I interviewed her once. I'd love to interview her again.
Yeah.
I interviewed her once. I remember it was in a cinema in Warrington, and we
the glamour,
the glamour of it. And we walked. I mean, why would she have been in a cinema in Warrington?
I'm just trying to work that one out.
What was she doing there?
I think she was opening it or something. Right. But anyway, we had a room all set up and lit for her, and she walked in and she said, I want all those lights changed.
Oh.
She went, and all the lights had to be put behind her and whatever. But then you look at it, and I remember at the time I was quite taken aback and thinking, this is a bit pompous. And then I realised, no, it's professional.
Yes.
And she knew.
Yeah.
And she knew.
She knew, exactly. There was a halo around her head.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh.
So I have a sort of Christ-like halo. Most things I do now.
Yeah, maybe could do with some lighting in here to give that effect.
OK.
Dawn, let's have a look at Boris Johnson, shall we? He's been on his holidays.
Yes, well, never-ending holiday, isn't it, really? But why not, hey? Absolutely. So this is, I think it's a lovely picture.
It is a lovely picture.
It's a picture of him, is on holiday.
You don't have it.
We don't have
we're going to talk about a lovely picture which we don't
okay.
have.
Shall I hold it up? Which camera do you want it held up at? That one there?
Oh, well, that is a lovely photo.
Yeah, no, it is. So he's on holiday.
And a mini-me. It's Boris and his mini-me.
Yes, it is. Yeah. This is Frank Alfred Odysseus, who's won. And Boris is 60, not looking in bad shape himself. And Carrie and the other two children, Nicholas, 4, and Romy Iris, 3, are there. And to be fair to Carrie, because it does look lovely, she goes, it's not a cheap holiday. It's like, well,
I read that last night and I thought I actually really like the fact that you said that. She said, full disclosure, it wasn't a cheap holiday, but we had a tough Christmas and we've treated ourselves. I thought
absolutely.
Quite right. It's what we all do.
It's just, I mean, if you are listening on the radio, it's Boris sitting on a sun lounger or on the beach in his swimming trunks, and the little one is cradled in his arms, and it's just a sweet picture.
Yeah. By the way, I have just an issue with you because you were talking at the beginning of this programme that you liked this biscuit.
I do like biscuits.
That you were dunking. Yep, I thought you were on a diet for your wedding.
I am, yeah. And I did say to Eamonn, didn't I, Eamonn, back me up? She said, no more biscuits now, Eamonn.
Yeah, but she doesn't need it.
The Sunday
she doesn't need it. I was pleased you eat a biscuit.
I did have a lot of guilt last night. Anyway, we're back on it today.
When we're back, we will have a picture of Venus, Botticelli's Birth of Venus, with a warning on it because she's naked, OK? Oh. That's the next time round.
Oh,
Catherine Chalk, good morning.
Sorry.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. The rain will be clearing its way eastwards through today, then sunshine and showers with lighter winds compared to Sunday. So we've got this band of rain across the southeast through this morning. That will clear its way eastwards, then turning drier for a time with some sunny spells breaking through. But we'll also see some showers developing across the southeastern England into parts of East Anglia. But further towards the west, plenty of sunshine. Northern Ireland seeing frequent showers that could be on the heavy side. Likewise for northwestern Scotland, but feeling pleasant in that sunshine. Highs of up to 13 or 14 degrees with lighter winds too. Now, as we head through Monday evening, we'll still see a few showers across the southern parts of England, but most places further towards the east should see some clear skies. A band of heavy and organised showers across western areas, but we'll see temperatures start falling away, so some of the showers across parts of Scotland could turn wintry over the highest ground. So as we go ahead through Monday evening and overnight, the showery outbreaks of rain will continue to push their way eastwards. Further towards the southwest of England, though, we have a band of more persistent rain just pushing up from the south, and that will move its way slowly eastwards into parts of London and East Anglia. Behind that, clearer spells developing. We'll start to see the winds drawing in more of a northwesterly, so actually turning a little bit colder on Tuesday morning, perhaps with a touch of frost for some of us. So through Tuesday morning is a damp start across eastern parts of England. Hazy spells of sunshine behind that. Then showers will start developing more widely as we go into the afternoon. So it's a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers on Tuesday. Generally, the winds are a touch lighter though, and we'll see them coming in more of a westerly direction. So temperatures a touch down on what we've seen in recent days. Bye-bye.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
The latest GB News travel.
Good morning, I'm Russell Holding. Buses replaced trains between Glasgow Central and Kilmarnock because of an incident, and there are delays of up to half an hour between Glasgow Central and Carlisle because of the weather. In County Durham, the A167 is closed at Newton Aycliffe after an accident. On Merseyside, Hornby Road's closed each way between Bootle and Liverpool for an investigation. In Monmouthshire, the A4042 is closed off the A40 south of Abergavenny because of flooding, and train services are suspended because of flooding between Treherbert and Tony Pandy. In London, the A2 is closed each way along Shooters Hill Road in Blackheath after an accident causing delays. On the M26 in Kent, it's taking nearly half an hour in queues approaching the M25 because of roadworks. In East Sussex, the A259 is closed along Grand Junction Road off the A23 Palace Pier roundabout in Brighton because of an unsafe building. And the M27 in Hampshire's partly blocked westbound by an accident at Junction 12 at Portsmouth, causing queues. That's the latest.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, gbnews.com.
There's just 2 weeks left to grab your chance to be one of 2 big winners in our latest Great British giveaway. First, you'll win a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash to spend however you like. You'll also receive the very latest iPhone 16, and we'll send you on a shopping spree with £500 to spend in your favourite store. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is the nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Earpiece. Hello there, very good morning to you. Today marks 3 years since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and the Prime Minister issues an impassioned plea to help.
What I have seen only makes me more determined to stand up for Ukraine, to put them in the best possible position and make sure they have the security and the hope that they need.
Well, that's as President Zelenskyy reveals he's willing to give up his presidency to secure peace for the country. Well, our Home and Security editor Mark White is live from a training facility in the east of England with British and Ukrainian troops.
For almost 3 years, Britain has been leading the way in training these Ukrainian troops. More than 52,000 have now passed through this base and other camps here in the UK.
But as the Prime Minister and other European leaders head to Washington this week, how will they navigate an American president who thinks like this?
This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago.
Change in Germany as the Conservative CDU party claim victory, but it's the surging ADF in second place which has sent shockwaves through Europe and around the world.
The Vatican has revealed the Pope has slept well last night. He's well rested after another night in hospital, and it has revealed that he has an initial mild kidney problem as Catholics around the world continue to pray for his recovery.
Let's Dance. Broadcasting legend Angela Rippon joins us live in the studio to discuss her nationwide campaign to use dance to improve your health, connect with others, and have fun as well.
And in sport this morning, the Premier League title is now Liverpool's to lose. 11 games to go as they beat poor old Manchester City 2-0 yesterday. Rangers have sacked their manager, Philippe Clement, after 16 months in charge. More importantly, they're 13 points behind Celtic. Max Verstappen was so upset that he was booed at the F1 launch last week, he'll never attend one here again.
After an unsettled Sunday, Monday promises sunny spells for many of us. I'll have all of the details coming up shortly.
2 minutes past 8 o'clock. A very good morning to you. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Television and online, on the radio, you're watching and listening to GB News Breakfast, and people are having their say on what, Ellie?
Well, you've got them all going on who the best football player of all time is, because you think it's Ronaldo.
Well, it can be subjective, Paul, but also there are certain statistics as terms of goals, assists, training, you know, stories that managers and fellow colleagues will talk about. They all say about Ronaldo, he will come in, he will train, he will then train with the rest of the team. They'll go home at lunchtime, he'll have his lunch and come back and train. And, you know, he trains, he rests, he sleeps, he lives for the game. He doesn't...
Sounds like me, actually, is what you could be describing me.
Tempo.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
See, you can look at it other way. You look at George Best.
Yeah.
Possibly one of the greatest natural footballers we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But then, did he do all the work that Ronaldo? Can you imagine if he worked like Ronaldo did and never went out having a nice time?
The downfall of George, of course, was alcohol, and you know, so you can't level that towards Ronaldo. So. You know, and as a Northern Irishman, George Best being the most famous Northern Irishman there's ever been, even I have to say, I think Ronaldo would just shave it.
OK. Well, what
Jack
have you
from
got?
Blackpool's been in touch on just that, saying Eamonn isn't often wrong, but he is on Ronaldo.
Yes, I agree.
George Best, when Best was on a run, he was unstoppable.
Right. Aaron says, I 100% agree with Eamonn on everything about Ronaldo. He is the GOAT, and the GOAT stands for...
Greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Right,
Greatest of all time, because there's still people that go, hold on, why are people calling him a GOAT? I don't understand, just those that don't understand the GOAT, that's what the GOAT is.
He's a supreme football athlete and a credit to the sport.
Yep.
Ben says, sorry, Eamonn, Best was the best player ever.
Is it only Best and Ronaldo? Is that it?
Pele gets a
Pele
mention.
should get a mention. What about Maradona?
No Maradona.
Or are we still all hating Maradona because of the hand of God?
Well,
Maradona on the
I think
list.
that's obvious. There's the hand of God comes in there.
Right.
And also, I mean, he had a colourful off-the-pitch life.
He
too.
did have a very colourful off-the-pitch life.
So
That's it,
there's lots of things you could say that naturally talented, naturally gifted, yes, no doubt, absolutely no doubt. But all round as a pro, Ronaldo.
Well, and also the other one is Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
So they're probably your big four. You've got your Pele, you've got your Maradona, you've got your Messi, and you've got your Ronaldo. Yeah, can't
head. He doesn't score goals with his head.
He's not bad, though, is he? He's not a bad player.
He's not bad, but I think Ronaldo gets it again.
Ronaldo
he can head.
OK. I'll say Messi.
Anyway, let us know what you think. It's got you all talking this morning. gbnews.com/your say.
Today marks 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. Keir Starmer reaffirmed his support for the country.
Instability in Europe always washes up on our shores. And this is a generational moment. I've been saying for some time that we Europeans, including the United Kingdom, have to do more for our defence and security. The US is right about that. In this new era, we can't cling on to the comforts of the past.
Well, overnight, a week on from being branded a dictator by President Trump, Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said he's ready to give up the Ukrainian presidency if doing so delivers peace and NATO protection.
And in Germany, Friedrich Merz is set to become their next chancellor after his centre-right Christian Democratic Union won the election, with the ADF surging to second place, reshaping relations in Europe. Let's hear now from our Home and Security editor, Mark White, who joins us from a training facility in the east of England. He's there with British and Ukrainian troops, and let's hear from him. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning, Eamonn. Yes, in about an hour or so's time, the training will begin in earnest at this camp in the east of England, an undisclosed location. But you can see just how realistic it is. This is a village environment. Could be any village anywhere that is clearly experiencing battlefield conditions with rubble strewn all around, bombed out vehicles, buildings that to an extent, some of them anyway, are booby-trapped, to try to make this as realistic a scenario as possible for those troops. And we can speak now to the commanding officer in charge of training here at this base, Lieutenant Colonel Erwin Clark. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. Just how vital are the training scenarios that you put on here at this particular base?
So obviously in this particular environment we're talking primarily about an urban environment, but the training we're able to lay on in this location varies hugely across all sorts of different modules, across survivability, lethality and offensive spirit, whether it be in an urban environment, in a rural environment or many others.
It can only do so much, of course, in preparing those troops for what they'll see back in Ukraine. And today, of course, marks the third anniversary of that main Russian invasion into Ukraine, particularly poignant, of course, for the hundreds of Ukrainian troops that are here in training today.
Yes, absolutely. And it's both at once a pretty grim milestone with some definite cause for reflection for us all today about the cost of the calamitous, unprovoked and illegal invasion by Russia 3 years ago. But then I also find it a very inspiring and humbling commemoration and anniversary, because it does speak to the enormous resilience and strength of the Ukrainian people, which is quite something to mark again today.
And of course, we know we're living in uncertain times. We don't know how things are going to develop. Peace talks-wise, whether anything will actually come of that at the end of the day. There's been an awful lot of noises off in the last few days. I guess for these troops, so they don't let that kind of distraction get to them.
No, we and they are 100% focused on what we're here for. Our mission is to deliver that training to add as much value as we possibly can in the time that has been allotted to us. Their mission is to attend this training to become better soldiers, better commanders, better leaders, and all of us are really unified across the 13 nations involved in achieving that mission, and we're here until we're told otherwise.
Well, and you mentioned the 13 nations. That is the remarkable thing about this endeavour. It started off as a wholly British enterprise, but now other nations have come on board. The Albanians, the latest to join.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and that really adds a huge amount of value, both for the trainees, but also for us, whether it be interoperability and learning to work with other nations' armies, or the cultural awareness side of it, and language skills and instructional skills, and then also just on the human side of it, the relationships and the sheer enjoyment of working with loads of people from completely different contexts.
And just talking again about the scenarios, I mean, how realistic would you say the scenarios are here? I mean, you throw lots at them.
We do. Of course, there's always the balance between realism and risk. And so we're very mindful that for some of them, they're coming to us from frontline experience. And so we're trying to create as much realism in training as we can, but without pushing it so far that actually they return to the front line more sort of tired and worn out than they were before they got here.
OK, Lieutenant Colonel Erwin Clark, thank you very much indeed for talking to us live on GB News there. And this training being spearheaded, of course, by the British and now with other nations, will continue. The British government have committed to this training programme until at least the end of this year.
OK, Mark White there for us in the east of England. Thank you very much. Let's speak now to political commentator Oscar Redrop, who joins us live now in the studio. Good to see you, Oscar.
Good morning.
So 3 years on since the invasion of Ukraine, it's hard to believe, really, isn't it? And then we've got Zelenskyy speaking over the weekend, saying he'd be willing to stand down as president if it brings peace to the country.
Yeah, it's been a long 3 years. It's the deadliest war we've had on this continent since the Second World War, which is easy to forget. And, yeah, Zelenskyy saying that he will stand down in exchange for NATO membership for his country. I think, you know, yes, I am someone of the right, but I have to call it as I see it. It makes a complete mockery of what we saw Trump label him as a dictator just last week. There's a lot of bombastic kind of chaos speak with Trump. It's kind of part almost of his way of operating, and you have to phase some of that out and really cut to the detail and the shape, as he would call it, of the deal, that hopefully this peace deal will build and build over the next, you know, weeks and months or however long it takes. But that was completely wrong. You know, I was at number 10 when this started, and you know, I just remember, like, you forget this. We really forget this. There was the real possibility that Ukraine was going to be blitzed within days or weeks. And yes, a lot of financial support and backing from allies have come in since then. But initially, that was the bravery of Zelenskyy, and that was the bravery, probably more importantly, obviously, of the Ukrainian people. And we can't forget that at this 11th hour.
No. Just on those Trump comments, we've had an email in from Simon, a question for you. Don't you think that Donald Trump is playing a very clever game in all of this by getting the world to support Ukraine because of his remarks? Yes, he might look like the bad guy, but in doing so, he's successfully united and strengthened support for Ukraine. Do you think this was potentially intentional from Donald Trump to get this reaction?
That's quite a generous read, but what I would say, and what has been picked up on quite smartly in that comment, is that you do have to phase out a lot of the noise, and actually with somebody like Trump, and also, like, when he entered the stage here, Trump, and again, it's what that comment picks up on very accurately, I think, and indeed, is that, in fairness, Trump wants an end to this war. So we can disagree with the way he's going about it, or saying, you know, or at least we can disagree with the comments that he makes, which is different to the material, substantive stuff. But he wants an end to this war. And you speak to a lot of Ukrainian people on the ground, and so, obviously, so do they, you know, and it's very easy for us to sit and go, you know, Ukraine must win at all costs, you know, here's more money, you know, war. But people on the ground, Ukrainians, they understand that there's an element of pragmatism that's needed here.
And they're tired.
Because they're tired. And this is what's hopeful about this situation, is that the Russian economy, after, you know, basically being a pariah state for 3 years now, is really suffering, hence why they're probably prepared to enter these peace negotiations that Trump can play a huge role in. And Ukraine can't, I mean, you know, holding off the Russians for this amount of time, when, as we discussed, a lot of people thought it was going to be over in days, is not sustainable either. So he's right, in a way. Like, Trump could be, and I really hope so, playing a slightly bombastic, clever, kind of 4D chess game to bring peace to the region.
But, Oscar, when he says a half-baked negotiator could have got a peace deal out of all of this, a peace deal could have been had very easily. Seriously?
I think you're rightly hinting at that's not the reality. This is going to be hugely complex, and, you know, when you hear, and it's funny, like commentators like me or people who've worked in politics, or even frontline politicians, when you compare their level of understanding of what's really at stake here and what's taken compared to, you know, people who work in MI6 and those security experts who we've seen in the media talk a little bit more about what's going on, you realise just how complicated this is. But maybe it will take someone like Trump, and it will annoy people, it will say unpalatable things, but maybe it will take that force of personality to get it done.
Well, I hope something gets done and peace comes about for the poor people involved in all of this. Oscar, really appreciate your commentary on everything today and your opinions, but we've got to leave it there.
Yeah,
thank you
very much.
Have a lovely morning.
Thank you. Let's have a look at some of the other news coming into the newsroom on this Monday morning. The latest situation in Pope Francis. He remains in hospital, where he has also experienced mild kidney problems, but continues to be alert and responsive, says the Vatican. The Pontiff has asked for prayers as he continues to receive treatment in hospital for double pneumonia and a mild kidney problem.
A British couple in their 70s have been arrested by the Taliban in Afghanistan. Peter Reynolds, who's 79, and his wife Barbie, who's 75, have been detained as they travelled to their home in the country's Bamiyan province on February the 1st. The couple have been running training projects in Afghanistan for 18 years. Their daughter has told the BBC she's not heard from her parents in more than 2 weeks.
And the papal drama Conclave has emerged as the one to beat at next week's Academy Awards. It swept the Screen Actors Guild Awards overnight in Los Angeles, winning Best Film and Best Ensemble Cast. Other winners included Demi Moore for her work in the film Substance and Timothée Chalamet for portraying Bob Dylan. It makes you, when you hear those films being recited there, you sort of think, that's on my list, that's on my list.
I've got a list going. The Bob Dylan film, Conclave, which I have now seen, and there was one more, which I've forgotten now.
OK.
And you need to see Conclave and then get back to me on your thoughts.
Yeah, I think I might go and see the Bob Dylan one as well. We're going to see Catherine Chalk now, and she's got The Weather, which is, I don't think, a particularly pretty picture. Catherine, good morning.
Despite the morning rain, it'll be a nice, warm, cosy day ahead. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. The rain will be clearing its way eastwards through today, then sunshine and showers with lighter winds compared to Sunday. So we've got this band of rain across the southeast through this morning. That will clear its way eastwards, then turning drier for a time with some sunny spells breaking through. But we'll also see some showers developing across the southeastern England into parts of East Anglia. But further towards the west, plenty of sunshine. Northern Ireland seeing frequent showers that could be on the heavy side. Likewise for northwestern Scotland, but feeling pleasant in the sunshine. Highs of up to 13 or 14 degrees with lighter winds too. Now, as we head through Monday evening, we'll still see a few showers across the southern parts of England, but most places further towards the east should see some clear skies. A band of heavy and organised showers across western areas, but we'll see temperatures start falling away, so some of the showers across parts of Scotland could turn wintry over the highest ground. So as we go ahead through Monday evening and overnight, this showery outbreaks of rain will continue to push their way eastwards. Further towards the southwest of England, though, we have a band of more persistent rain just pushing up from the south, and that will move its way slowly eastwards into parts of London and East Anglia. Behind that, clearer spells developing. We'll start to see the winds drawing in more of a northwesterly, so actually turning a little bit colder on Tuesday morning, perhaps with a touch of frost for some of us. So through Tuesday morning is a damp start across eastern parts of England. Hazy spells of sunshine behind that. Then showers will start developing more widely as we go into the afternoon. So it's a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers on Tuesday. Generally the winds are a touch lighter though, and we'll see them coming in more of a westerly direction. So temperatures a touch down on what we've seen in recent days. Bye-bye.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
And a reminder of the Great British Giveaway. If you're waking up this Monday morning and you think things could be better, well, they could. Yes.
Don't miss your chance to be one of 2 big winners in our latest Great British Giveaway, as we have 2 prize bundles that have to be won. There's 2 lots of a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash. You'll also receive a brand new iPhone 16, along with £500 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. Hurry, lines close on the 7th of March. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Still to come, Let's Dance.
This party's
She's still got it. Broadcasting legend Angela Rippon is live in the studio with us to chat about her new
just
initiative.
looking at that.
Let's Dance. She's amazing, isn't she? Impressive stuff.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
It's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Nana are Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
5 years ago now, we developed this campaign called Regifting Beauty. And Regifting Beauty is about giving back to those that are in less fortunate situations than the majority of us. And I was coming across people that were receiving gifts at Christmas. You know how many gifts we receive? Gift sets, items, bath bombs, all of these things that we don't necessarily use. For myself, they sit in the bathroom cupboard all year round. So I was thinking of a way how we can make that better, put that to better purpose. And we developed this campaign 5 years ago called Regifting Beauty. And it's where people can donate unwanted toiletries, sanitary items, skincare, perfumes, and we work with different charities around the country and they will re-gift them to survivors of domestic abuse. And for years now, it's only really been focused around women. There hasn't really been a male focus. So Ben and I were having conversations and we were thinking, well, and I was getting comments throughout the years of doing it, saying, why are men excluded from this? Surely it should be applicable to men too. I mean, in the UK, over 700,000 men are suffering with domestic abuse on an annual basis. And a lot of that goes unreported. And there's over 2 million people in the UK that do suffer from some form of domestic abuse, be it physical or psychological, and it's an important topic that we should be discussing. So this campaign is about providing something that may seem trivial, but it restores some level of dignity, and I think that's so important when survivors are just trying to regain aspects of their life. Something so small that maybe sitting in your bathroom cupboard that you're not using could go to such better use. So this year we're launching the Regifting Beauty, the Turnaround Edition, about turning around moments in life and allowing people to have those turnaround moments, which also plays on Ben's, song, Turnaround.
Gotta turn
it fits in nicely with that.
Which I'll be on with.
for the remix,
It's all fitting in nicely, isn't it?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
We just finished dancing with Angela Rippon during the break there, and we're sitting down to chat. But she is a legend. She is a legend. She's done so much on the television, and including popularising dancing,
Yes.
it has to be said. So what has she done now, Ellie?
Well, she's now about to launch a national campaign to inspire everyone to embrace dancing.
And it's her idea. Now, this comes after her time on Strictly, when she saw firsthand the benefits of dancing. So whether you're 7 or you're 70, Let's Dance is designed to make movement joyful and prove that you're never too old to, whatever you do, swing one or whatever. Angela, good morning to you.
Good morning to you guys.
And Angela, what were the benefits you saw working on Strictly? What actually was this revelation to you that you should do more?
Well, I tell you what it was, mainly. It was because I think I've been dancing since I was 5, one way and another.
Life, haven't
yes.
you? Yeah.
And I'm now 80, so 75 years I've been dancing. So I've always known, as have dance teachers all over the country, that dance is actually the best form of exercise you can possibly do, because it's not just good for your body, but it's also great for your mind, for your mental health, for your mind, for your happiness, for your outlook on life. And of course, you have to use your brain to remember what you're doing. So it's great for all sorts of things. And so I've known that, and dance teachers have known that, but it's always been sort of under the radar when people have thought about how do I get fit. They sort of think automatically about going to a gym or doing a park
Getting on a treadmill,
doing all of that. So when I was doing Strictly, I got wonderful reaction from the public. I mean, I was just overwhelmed with a lot of people saying that I'd inspired them to think about dance. And I thought, how can I put these two things together then? And I was listening to Chris Whitty on radio, he's the Chief Medical Officer for England, saying that because the National Health Service is having such financial difficulties, it would help if we all took more responsibility for our own health by, he said, play football, go to a gym. Why not dance, he said. And I thought, that's what I can do. So because I've been involved with dance for a long time, I got in touch with every one of the dance organisations in the country, the ones who look after ballroom dancing, Latin, ballet, street dance, everything, all of them, and all the ballet companies, all the dance companies, and said, if we can get a national day of dance to get that message across, get dance teachers to open their doors and say, come and see what dance can do for you, whether it's ballet or bhangra or street or whatever.
National Day?
And that's what we've done. And our National Day of Dance is next Sunday, March the 2nd. There are dance teachers literally from the Channel Islands to Orkney and everything in between, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, the whole of England. Dance teachers are going to be opening their doors on Sunday and saying, come and see what dance can you do for you as an exercise, which will get you fit, but you'll have fun at the same time. I mean, I've never seen anyone come off a cross trainer with a big smile on their face and say, oh, that was fun. But you go to a dance class and it is.
And you don't need to be a dancer. You don't need to be a professional, have experience. Anyone can do it.
Anybody can dance. It's, if you watch babies, yes, you can.
Yes, you can shuffle. I mean, you can, I agree with you. You can do it to all four levels.
But you watch babies, as soon as they can walk and they hear music, they move to music because, and I know I won't get technical about it, but it's all to do with the hippocampus at the back of the brain, which reacts to music. And it's something you can do whatever your age. And I was telling you in the break that I met this wonderful woman when I was in my 20s, a lady called Eileen Fowler. She was the sort of the Jane Fonda of the 1940s and 50s. And I was in my 20s and she bounced into the studio and she said, during the interview, she said something quite profound. She said, you've got to remember that the human body is a machine, and like any machine, it has millions of moving parts. And if you don't keep those moving parts oiled and moving, they will seize up, they will rust, they will stop working. So if you keep your body moving, if you keep all the little bits working, then hopefully you'll not only have not for everybody, I realise this, you'll have a fit.
And if you enjoy it as well.
Enjoy it, and you'll go into old age still being fit and having your mobility, and that's important.
How did they know? We're going to show you now. This is you on Morecambe and Wise.
Oh, my goodness, that was a long time ago.
What was the year? What was the year we're talking?
76.
76. And so you'd have been, what, in your 30s?
I was in my 30s, yes.
Yeah, it was amazing. So was it known then that you were a dancer? Who decided to get you on this show?
It was Ernest Maxim, who was their producer, and the boys.
Did Ernest know that you could dance?
No. In fact, they rang me up and said... Ernie rang me up when I was in the newsroom. I was reading the national news on television at the time. And Ernie said, the boys would like you to be in their Christmas show, which many people will remember was the show that everybody watched.
Absolutely.
And I said, crikey, got the permission from the editor of television at the time. He said, yes, of course you can. And they said, well, what are you going to do? And Ernest said to me, well, can you sing? And I said, not unless you want me to clear the studio, but I can dance a bit. And Ernest Maxim was a choreographer, among other things, and he choreographed what we did. So that was it.
It is absolutely incredible. And then to do Strictly all those years later, I mean, did that feel like a full circle moment?
It was. Well, it was a full circle moment, not necessarily because of Morecambe and Wise, but because in the 70s and 80s I'd presented Come Dancing, which, if you like, is the grandmother to Strictly Come Dancing. And I'd been a viewer of I mean, I presented it, I think, for 3-4 years or so, and in those days we used to do all the international competitions as well, so I did a lot of dance on television. And in between, of course, I was a viewer of Strictly, like millions of other people. And when they asked me to do it, my original reaction was, you got to be kidding, I'm 79, I'm way too old. But I did it, and got a reaction, which was terrific. But I loved it, and I had a great partner in Kai. I mean, it helps if you've got a brilliant...
You can still do the leg kick.
And I can still do the leg kick, yes. But I loved every minute of it, I did. And it was amazing, as I say, the reaction that it got from the public. And so I just want people to think, if they want to get fit, if they want... And you're never isolated and lonely. You know, a lot of people a lot of older people particularly, they're at home and they're isolated. Go to a dance class, you'll make friends.
It's so social, isn't it? It's that connection
totally social.
with people when you're dancing together.
Not only for the dancers, one of the teachers in Northern Ireland said something to me. She said, we've got wonderful things happening in Northern Ireland on Sunday. She said to me, dance teachers, she said, although we always have lots of people in our class, we tend to work on our own. They do. They all work in silos, basically. And all I've done is bring them all together and said, show the nation what you do and what you can offer. And she said to me, she said, what's been lovely, I've been meeting other dance teachers because we've all got together to do something.
Yeah.
And she said, really, it's the first time we've all been collaborative in what we do. And that's what dance will do for you. It's great for your body. It's great for your mind. It's a way of getting fit and having fun. And I hope lots of people will take the invitation to find a dance teacher near them next Sunday.
Yes.
And Angela, as a pro, I look upon you and I look at all the different programmes you do. People sometimes call you newsreader. You know, you've done so much. I mean, you've done Top Gear. You've done so many programmes throughout your life. And the thing that I realise, and you're 80 years of age, and you don't stop. You're still in demand.
I'm eternally grateful. I always think I'm really very lucky that I do a job that I love, and that most people would give, as we know, their right arm to do. You know, the places we go, the people we meet, the things that we do. And I love what I do, and people do still ask me to do it, and I just... Yeah. I revel in it. The day that I wake up and think, oh, God, I've got to go to work today, I know that's when I have to quit, because I mean, I'm going to be filming this week for a television programme for a couple of days up in Scotland. We've got Let's Dance happening over the weekend. I just do what I do. Brilliant. And love it. And people keep asking me, so why not?
Day is March the 2nd. March the 2nd.
It's Sunday.
For that, on Sunday. So Let's Dance, says Angela Rippon. She's inviting you to do so. Angela, how do people get details of this? How would they...
We've got a website. If you go online, you'll find the Let's Dance website, which will tell you probably, you know, that there's a dance school near you. And if you can't find one, just go online and put in dance schools in my area, and you'll find a dance teacher who will, I know, help you, as I say, get fit. Whatever your age, whatever... Go with your children. Go with your grandparents. Just go and do it and enjoy it.
OK. Lovely to see you enjoying everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. Oh, wonderful stuff. Well, still to come.
She's friends with Einstein.
She is friends with Einstein. I've seen you on the telly with Einstein. Yes, very good.
Swings a leg with him.
And it is me.
Is it you? We were asking
the number of people who say to me, Ange, is that really you? Yes, it's me.
Didn't we say exactly that?
I said she'll have a stunt.
She'll have a body double.
She'll have a body double.
No, it's me.
You are amazing.
Thank you, Angela Rippon. Thank you very much. Paul Coyte. Is he amazing? He is amazing.
He's someone who knows his way around a dance floor.
Yeah, OK. Mr. Paul will be dancing his way in the studio right after this. Don't go away.
The latest GB News travel.
Good morning, I'm Russell Holding. In County Durham, the A167 is closed at Newton Aycliffe after an accident. In Lancashire, the A56 is closed along Newtown Street in Colne because of an accident. On Merseyside, Hornby Road's closed each way between Bootle and Liverpool for an investigation. In Monmouthshire, the A4042 is closed off the A40 south of Abergavenny because of flooding. And train services are suspended because of flooding between Tullypandy and Pontypridd. Now, on the A1M in Hertfordshire, there are northbound queues after traffic was stopped because of an accident just after junction 1 for the M25. On the M25 in Essex, there's a lane closed clockwise at junction 30 for the A13 where someone's broken down, causing queues. In London, the A2 is closed each way along Shooters Hill Road in Blackheath after an accident. And on the M27 in Hampshire, there's a lane closed westbound where someone's broken down between junctions 9 and 8 from Fareham towards Southampton, causing delays.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, gbnews.com.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here
we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and he did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Just had Angela Rippon there, and Paul, we're going to have Danny Mills, footballer Danny Mills, tomorrow. Why is that?
I thought he's a nice fella. I thought we'd just have him on. And he's a lovely dancer. Yeah. Look, Danny Mills, Leeds legend. Leeds are playing Sheffield United tonight. Huge game in the Championship. And also Danny Mills' son, George, is a fantastic athlete.
He just did very well, didn't he?
That's right, yeah. Won the 3,000 metres at the Indoor UK Championship. Went to the Olympics.
By a large margin.
10 seconds. Yeah, he broke the record by 10 seconds. So there he is. So you can see Danny there. And that was the other thing we mentioned. You know, we were talking about the best footballer ever, but I'm still trying to work out sons and fathers or mothers and daughters and sons, whatever, but who have both been extremely successful in sport, but doing different sports. So who else is there? There's going to be more, isn't there?
You can see it more in TV as TV presenters, but not in sport.
Yeah, but two separate sports.
No,
I'm going to have a list. They're all going to. We're going to think of them later.
There's obviously competitiveness through the genes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I actually do think that, because I think there is something there. So is it whether they inspire them more?
Or maybe it's the discipline when they're being raised.
Could be.
Well, there was nothing there for Man City, hammered by Liverpool at their own ground yesterday.
Yeah, so it leaves Liverpool on 64 points, Arsenal on 53. So it's done and dusted, isn't it? It's got to be done and dusted. Arne Slot, the Liverpool manager, who, by the way, let's face it, this is his first year as manager of Liverpool. He's been extremely successful.
It's as if he's always been there.
I mean, it really is. And
you look at Jurgen Klopp and you'd have thought, how do you replace him?
But that's it. You could say he walked into a ready-made team, but he has made it his own. So Arne Slot was asked yesterday, is it done and dusted? Have Liverpool... What do you reckon he said? Here he comes.
We are in a good position. But we also know how hard it was for us to win against Wolves. Now we play Newcastle. We played 3-3 over there, which was, in my opinion, also a good result. Although after 89 minutes we were 3-2 up. But we also experienced how difficult that one is. So in every other league, having a lead like this would be very comfortable, except for this one, because this league, every single game gives you a lot of challenges. Even Plymouth Argyle gave us a lot of challenges.
And then you had Nottingham Forest yesterday trying to be Manchester City, dressing like Manchester City.
You don't like that, do you?
And still being beaten by Newcastle away.
Yeah, see, they were... Newcastle scored...
Let's see the kit.
Yeah, see, look, it's... They're in light blue. Why they can't wear red? That's Nottingham Forest. I mean, it's all about selling shirts. I'm sure that's all it is, because it's not like it's a kit clash, is it? So anyway, they lost 4-3, or Newcastle won 4-3, but Newcastle wore 4-1 up and could have thrown it away. But Nottingham Forest are still up there doing well. Another quick one. Rangers have sacked their manager, Philippe Clement. So he's gone. It seems that Barry Ferguson, Rangers legend, is going to take over till the end of the season. And finally, Max Verstappen has actually FIA, the F1 rulers have condemned the tribalist booing of Max Verstappen and Christian Horner at the season launch that happened last week because they got roundly booed. They're saying it's a disgrace, is that people should not... But at sport,
there's a party atmosphere there. I think there may well... I wasn't there, I don't know, but would alcohol have played a part in that?
Could well have done. But anyway, but when you get booing sometimes, it's just part of the pantomime. It's part of the theatre. Don't take it so seriously.
Yeah. Well, Paul, boo.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
They were still booing you when I was on. That was the thing.
You and I are meeting Barry McGuigan today.
Yes, good old Barry. Yeah.
So we'll look forward to that later, my friend. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Still to come, what have we got?
Well, we're going to be going through the papers with Dawn Neeson and with Biggins as well. But before any of that, let's take a look at the European holiday destination weather forecast.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello, welcome to your winter sun forecast. Sunshine and showers for many with snow over the Alps and feeling less cold in Greece. Plenty of sunshine across the Canary Islands, feeling pleasant here, highs of 19 degrees. There'll be sunshine and showers elsewhere, falling as snow over the Alps. And across Greece, temperatures are going to be rising with temperatures up to 13 or 14 degrees. Looking ahead then, plenty of sunny spells, a few showers still around and feeling pleasant in that sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Once it goes...
We're going to be back very soon with Dawn Neeson and Christopher Biggins going through the papers.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Headliners. Tomorrow's papers tonight, every night from 11 p.m.
We've got the Daily Mail now with the latest in the court case over whether a man is a woman or a man. It's a tough question. And J.K. Rowling has given her opinion. I think I can guess what it is, Cressida.
Explosive twist in Australia's What is a Woman trans battle as Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling gets involved. So this is the court case Giggle versus Tickle. Tickle was a...
He's Mr. Men.
That's right. It's a Mr. Men trans battle.
Kind of is a Mr. Man.
It was a women's group, wasn't it? Tickle, Giggles... Oh, I get it wrong. Giggles for girls. And Roxy Tickle, who is a trans woman, wanted to join this group and wasn't allowed, was banned for being a biological male, and then sued and amazingly got $10,000 for this, which is already extraordinary to me.
Yeah.
But it's now doubling down and is going to file a cross appeal seeking to upgrade the judgment.
Yeah.
So Roxy has come back for another bite of the cherry.
And I've had a look at this Roxanne Tickle, the trans woman.
Is she pretty?
No, not one of the pretty ones. Not a Blair White. Just looks like, to be honest, it looks like
you could be sued for 10,000.
Looks like one of us.
Yeah.
To be honest, no. Like I mean, I'll happily.
For yourself.
No, I think it's an absolute. It's a farce, and it's making a mockery of not just. It's not just making a mockery of women's right to have their own spaces. It's making a mockery of genuine trans people who actually put some effort in and look like a woman.
What do you mean a genuine trans
And also,
people?
if
We don't believe in that.
If your name was Roxanne, if you were going to transition, you wouldn't pick the name Roxanne Tickle.
What?
You choose Tess.
Tess. That's a kind of name. No, the truth is that's one of the problems, is you get a choice of the name you're going to choose. And of course you're going to choose like a hot Roxanne. That's a hot Roxanne. That's a great name. They're not going to choose.
You don't think
Louis.
Tess would work better with Tickle?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We've got Biggins and we've got Dawn Neeson here in the studio, and they've been very entertaining and insightful throughout the morning. But Biggins, I want to know who has said, "I'll be buck naked too." Was this you?
Well, yeah, no, not me, Sandy, but I love this series, White Lotus.
Right, I saw it on my planner last night.
It's very good, because if you watched the first two series...
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, they're brilliant.
Would you recommend?
Oh, I would honestly recommend it. Especially there's an actress, a large actress in the first one, I think it is, or second one, and she is brilliant, and she dies, sadly. But in the new series that I've just started to watch, there's a very attractive guy called Patrick, I think his name is.
Is he Schwarzenegger?
But I didn't know his surname.
Schwarzenegger.
No, yeah, I didn't want to know what it is, but I find out that his father is Arnold.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he is so attractive, and he's saying in this article today that he gets buck naked, and I can't wait. It's going to be very exciting.
I did some research into this, obviously, Ellie, as you have to if you're a serious journalist, and I was comparing father and son from various scenes across the years, just obviously as research. Yeah, both quite fit.
Well, I think he's much more attractive facially than his father.
Oh, I wasn't particularly looking at the faces, but yeah, I mean, very, very attractive.
Whereas his mother, of course, is beautiful, Maria.
Right. Well, the thing is, should there be a warning? Well, is she a Kennedy?
Yeah, I think she is.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure she
Yeah, so he has that look of the Kennedys, actually.
Pretty good gene pool.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a good combination.
Yeah.
A strong combination.
It's very camp, this series. It's wonderful. It's terribly funny.
White Lotus.
White Lotus.
Okay, what channel's it on?
I think it could be Amazon.
You see, this is the thing. I went to watch a programme last night and I could not remember what channel it was on.
So many.
Eamonn.
So many.
Now, Eamonn, don't you have a remote control which you press a button and you can go White Lotus?
Oh, I never used that.
Oh, it's brilliant.
My younger brother, Brian, who's got the broadest Belfast accent you could imagine, right? So he lifts up his control. I'm going to his house and he goes to me, and I go, when you speak properly, how is that machine going to understand a word you're saying? But it does.
Does it?
It does, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you had to put on an accent.
No.
I understand.
That's
good.
They get it.
That's good. Very good.
I've never tried that. I'm going to have to try it now.
Yes.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
That's how I found
I don't do it either, but
it's very, very useful. It really is good.
That's how I found Conclave. It was exactly the same. I didn't know where to find it, so I just said Conclave, and there it was.
And up it comes. It's fantastic.
Well, that's the answer.
Right.
Now, Dawn, so talking about nudity.
Yes.
As we were.
No, actually, this is not. Chris has this story as well.
It's involving naked people. This is Chris.
This is
Biggins.
the Botticelli Venus.
Well,
right?
this gets me incensed. This is unbelievable.
Right.
Woke union chiefs.
But there we are. There's the famous
have
painting.
said that this must be taken down.
The birth of Venus.
This must not be watched. You mustn't look at this.
And there's a trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
As well, right?
Yes.
And I don't know who's put the trigger warning on this. Is it the museum where it's held, or
some union chiefs?
Oh, right.
Woke union chiefs. I mean, this is
so.
just...
What is the offence now with that? What?
You can see her belly button.
Oh.
And a little bit of her titties. I mean, it's a beautiful painting.
Yeah, the trigger warning is that this painting may involve nudity. Well, it is a Botticelli, it is Venus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to involve nudity.
And there are lots of wonderful paintings that involve nudity. You can't suddenly say now, in 25, you can't look at these.
You'd have to shut down every art gallery in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it would be ridiculous.
We are living in 1984 now, aren't we? I mean, not literally the year, but the whole censorship thing. It's like groupthink, you must do this, you must do that. You can't have independent thought. Yeah. You can't look at works of art in case you start thinking the wrong way.
It's just like newsflash, classical paintings will probably have nudity in them.
Yes.
You're right. Angling. And
compared to what you can see on Instagram.
Yes. That's a very
sorry,
good point.
angling.
So young cast off their anxiety by catching on to angling. And I can see, I watch, various fishing programmes and things on TV. I wouldn't want to do it. I can't. There's too much mess involved in it, and you know, rods and reels and all sorts of things. It wouldn't be for me.
There's a lot to contend with there.
Well, there is. According to the Angling Trust, thousands of young anglers are being awarded rod licences. You need a licence, evidently. And I can't even talk, say. Angling influencers have helped popularise fishing with videos showing off their catches and how to tie their favourite ties. And basically, it's Generation Z, again, we always talk about Generation Z, are getting more into going fishing because it's more calming, and they're posting all these videos on TikToks now of them sitting on the riverbanks tying flies and stuff. Don't look at me like that, Biggins. It's meant to be crisp and sexy and full of impact. It's fishing, come on.
Yeah.
You never been out playing with your rods?
Don't be so stupid. The only thing I've done is casting off.
You see, you could do the casting off, you can do all that, but it's then afterwards, Biggins, it's putting it all away.
I know.
That's what
It's a lot of faff.
A lot of faff.
Right, and also, I don't want to touch those wriggly worms and things. And,
no.
You know,
maggots.
There's something about men, though, and maybe you two can explain this one, holding a fish. Why are men so proud of the fish that they catch?
Oh, have you smelled a fish?
I have smelled a fish.
Well, this is
I don't understand it. But it's a man thing.
Interesting. Well, it's not actually interesting you mentioned that, Ellie, because more and more young women, and these influencers mentioned in this story are young women. They're not Gen Z. They're slightly older, but talking about how it's helped their mental health, and it's mainly women that are doing it. And obviously, the big programme, Mortimer and White has gone fishing, which has encouraged a lot of people.
That's the one I'm thinking.
Very, very lovely, gentle programme, and it's funny because they're in it. But yeah, you sit by a riverbank for hours on end, and then you throw it back.
I don't
Where
get it.
did influencers happen?
They've always happened, they just have never been named.
Oh, I see.
You see, you know, I
They
remember
earn a fortune.
Dawn was
Instagram, when
talking
Instagram
about
started.
touching all this equipment and everything. I remember there used to be a programme called Jack Hargreaves Out of Town.
Oh, that's right.
And he used to sit in the shed and he would say, "Oh, I've got," and he would smoke his pipe and he would go, "Oh, so I've got here." And you would think this is something to sharpen a knife with or something. And suddenly, what do I care? But I'm sitting suddenly watching it, you know, and you become really interested in this man sitting in his shed. And then he shows a little film. I went down to the river.
It was fascinating and it was relaxing.
Yeah.
Didn't have to think.
I want to do a quick shout out for the chemists of the country because they're essential to everyone, but they're not being funded at Kelsapri's like everybody else. What's the situation with
the
pharmacists?
government said about 6 months ago or a year ago or some time ago, go and use, rather than go to a doctor or a hospital, go to your pharmacist.
Use them for everything.
And find out, they will help you, they will tell you what's the best to take, and then, you know, and then if it's really bad, then you go to a doctor.
They're the front line, aren't they?
Absolutely. And now, another department, because I don't think departments are talking to each other in the government. This is, so initially, they said they won't fund it, and so they'll have to close down pharmacists. It's terrible, because we need them.
Yeah, OK, guys, really appreciate. We need you to come back and see us again sometime. Thank you both very much indeed, Dawn and Christopher, and keep well.
It's a pleasure.
Let's get a check on the weather now with Catherine.
A chilly start will give way to a lovely, warm afternoon. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. The rain will be clearing its way eastwards through today, then sunshine and showers with lighter winds compared to Sunday. So we've got this band of rain across the southeast through this morning. That will clear its way eastwards, then turning drier for a time with some sunny spells breaking through. But we'll also see some showers developing across the southeastern England into parts of East Anglia. But further towards the west, plenty of sunshine. Northern Ireland seeing frequent showers that could be on the heavy side. Likewise for northwestern Scotland, but feeling pleasant in that sunshine. Highs of up to 13 or 14 degrees with lighter winds too. Now, as we head through Monday evening, we'll still see a few showers across the southern parts of England, but most places further towards the east should see some clear skies. A band of heavy and organised showers across western areas, but we'll see temperatures start falling away, so some of the showers across parts of Scotland could turn wintry over the highest ground. So as we go ahead through Monday evening and overnight, this showery outbreaks of rain will continue to push their way eastwards. Further towards the southwest of England, though, we have a band of more persistent rain just pushing up from the south, and that will move its way slowly eastwards into parts of London and East Anglia. Behind that, clearer spells developing. We'll start to see the winds drawing in more of a northwesterly, so actually turning a little bit colder on Tuesday morning, perhaps with a touch of frost for some of us. So through Tuesday morning is a damp start across eastern parts of England. Hazy spells of sunshine behind that. Then showers will start developing more widely as we go into the afternoon. So it's a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers on Tuesday. Generally the winds are a touch lighter though, and we'll see them coming in more of a westerly direction. So temperatures a touch down on what we've seen in recent days. Bye-bye.
A nice bright morning will generate a lovely warm day, right through to the evening. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
The latest GB News travel.
Good morning, I'm Russell Holding. In County Durham, the A167 is closed at Newton Aycliffe after an accident. In Lancashire, the A56 is closed along Newtown Street in Colne after an accident. On Merseyside, Hornby Road's closed each way between Bootle and Liverpool for an investigation. In Monmouthshire, the A4042 is closed off the A40 south of Abergavenny because of flooding, with train services suspended because of flooding between Tanypandy and Pontypridd. The A1M in Hertfordshire is blocked northbound by an accident just after the M25, causing queues. On the M25 in Essex, there's a lane closed clockwise at junction 30 for the A13 where someone's broken down, with queues halfway back to junction 29 for the A127. In London, the A2 is closed each way along Shooters Hill Road in Blackheath after an accident. On the M27 in Hampshire, there's a lane closed westbound, someone's broken down between junctions 9 and 8 from Fareham towards Southampton, causing queues. And that's the latest.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website gbnews.com.
Don't miss your chance to be one of 2 big winners in our latest Great British giveaway, as we have 2 prize bundles that have to be won. There's 2 lots of a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash. You'll also receive a brand new iPhone 16, along with £500 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. Hurry, lines close on the 7th of March. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Today marks 3 years since the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
The Prime Minister has issued an impassioned plea for help.
What I have seen only makes me more determined to stand up for Ukraine, to put them in the best possible position and make sure they have the security and the hope that they need.
That's as President Zelenskyy reveals he's willing to give up his position as president to secure peace for his country.
But as the Prime Minister and other European leaders head to Washington, how will they navigate an American president who thinks like this?
This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago.
PM Sir Keir Starmer doubles down on support for Ukraine ahead of his key visit to the White House later this week. But what will that man, Donald Trump, think of all this?
Change in Germany as the Conservative CDU party claim victory, but it's the surging ADF in second place which will send shockwaves through Europe and around the world.
The Vatican reveals the Pope has slept well. He's well rested after another night in hospital, as it's revealed he has an initial mild kidney problem. Catholics around the world continue to pray for his recovery.
And one of the Prince and Princess of Wales's most trusted advisors has broken his silence in a new interview.
Do you remember that phone call between you and William about Kate's diagnosis?
It was awful, absolutely awful. It's the lowest I've ever seen him.
The former Communications Secretary to the Prince and Princess of Wales, Jason Canoff, as you said, breaks the silence for the first time and is asked what it was like working for William and Catherine and Harry and Meghan.
After an unsettled Sunday, Monday promises sunny spells for many of us. I'll have all of the details coming up shortly.
On television, on radio, online, this is Breakfast on GB News. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
And I'm Ellie Costello.
Good, you've been so good getting in touch today. Thank you very much. What are folks saying, Ellie?
Ben says Starmer is not the person to represent Britain with Trump. And Sean says hopefully President Trump will install some common sense into this Prime Minister. Colin says, who says special relationship? Only British and some American politicians. Us ordinary folk never mention it. It's hogwash. That sounds like what you would think.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Paul says Starmer's visit to Trump, he should stand up to him, but he won't.
Yeah. Jerry says at least Trump's being consistent. He's been saying for years a peace deal with Ukraine could have been negotiated. But, you know, when he says that, you know, any half-baked negotiator could have got a deal, well, we're going to find out, aren't we?
We are going to find out.
Yeah.
Well, he said that he'd do it in 24 hours, didn't he?
Yeah.
He'd fix this war in Ukraine in 24 hours. He's gone over that
The whole question is, what will a deal look like and who will it benefit from, and will this fighting stop? Will people stop being murdered? It's just a sickening thing. 3 years. I mean, I remember the day that we announced that here on this very programme that Russia had invaded Ukraine. And to think 3 years has elapsed since then, it's incredible.
Thousands of people have died since then, and now Zelenskyy saying he will step down if it will bring peace.
And then we had the Prime Minister yesterday reaffirming his support for the country.
Instability in Europe always washes up on our shores. And this is a generational moment. I've been saying for some time that we Europeans, including the United Kingdom, have to do more for our defence and security. The US is right about that. In this new era, we can't cling on to the comforts of the past.
Now, up next, we've got something very interesting for you. British troops and Ukrainian troops being trained in a Ukrainian village, but it's in the east of England, so it is. And it just looks as though it could be in Ukraine. Mark White will show you more.
Well, we're at this training base at an undisclosed location in the east of England, and you can see it's very realistic indeed. It's an urban village setting, and these buildings, many of them, of course, are booby-trapped. They want to make it as realistic as possible, and all around there's rubble-strewn streets, vehicles that are damaged to give the kind of effect and look of bomb-damaged vehicles. They all play a part in the scenarios that these troops have to take part in before they're then sent into combat missions for real in eastern and southern Ukraine. We spoke to Colonel Boardman, who is in charge of this British-led training programme, Operation Interflex, and he told us just how sophisticated the programme is now from the programme that started some 3 years ago.
The training when we began was really basic infantry training
turning civilians into soldiers over the course of 5 weeks. We've fleshed that training out significantly over the last 2.5 years. We now offer leadership training for non-commissioned officers and officers. We train Ukrainian instructors, and we offer a fuller package for the basic recruits.
Well, we're standing in front of the wonderful Grand Hotel. I don't think you probably want to stay the night in there. It gets a bit noisy, I gather, on training days. How realistic are these courses?
We do our best to keep them as close to the battlefield reality as possible. As you said just now, we run a number of different scenarios. We train the recruits in the rural environment, the urban environment, trench warfare. We try and replicate as far as possible the conditions they'll go back into, and using some of the British Army's training estate to do that.
And as I say, you know, when you first started, it was just basic infantry training now. All kinds of, not just the urban warfare and the trench warfare, but the new reality of drone warfare as well. You give those recruits all of the kind of information and assistance you can to guard against possible attack from above.
That's absolutely right, yeah. We pack an awful lot into 49 days of training. The drone threat is a new thing for all of us, frankly, in the military. It's an area we're doing our best to keep up with what's happening at the front line, to give the recruits the best ability to defend themselves against that. That's one of the strands. We're not running a drone course specifically. That's one of the strands that we need to teach alongside mine awareness, dealing with booby traps, as you mentioned earlier, and frankly, operating in an environment which is pretty challenging for anybody.
Well, here at this base, the training of Ukrainian troops is going to continue until at least the end of this year. There's a big uncertainty, of course, as to where we go, whether President Trump's peace plan will come to fruition. But the Ukrainians, as far as the British government are concerned, have been given an assurance that Britain will still be there to offer the kind of vital training that troops need to survive back home on the battlefield.
Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate that. You see, that to me is amazing.
Oh, I mean,
that's in Cambridgeshire, right? We can't tell you exactly where it is or whatever, but it looks as though it could be in Ukraine.
It looks like it could be in Eastern Europe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's got blown out cars and blown out buildings. I mean, it's incredible.
And the architecture.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is what Britain has been doing for Ukraine, amongst lots of other things, all the funding and all the weaponry, but also on the ground here in Britain, training Ukrainian troops. And as you heard from that gentleman there, taking civilians to soldiers in just 5 weeks.
Incredible.
It is incredible, the programme that
and people who know they're probably going to lose their lives.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very brave. On the ground here for us, talking about all sorts of politics now, Christopher Hope, our political editor. Christopher, good morning to you.
That's right. Morning, Ukraine. Morning, Eamonn. Exactly. So important, and it shows the commitment this country has, I think, to Ukraine. We're seeing a tweet in the past hour from Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. He says, 3 years on from Putin's barbaric full-scale invasion of Ukraine, today we once again, in a once-in-a-generational moment for our collective security and values, we continue to stand with Ukraine for a just and lasting peace. Now, that is really important to say. That might be something you would take for granted until Donald Trump came to power. Now that Trump is questioning that man on your screen, Zelenskyy, it's very important that the UK is backing him along with other European allies. And later today, there were phone calls a lot today between the Prime Minister and our allies in NATO. Now, there's a G7 phone call later. That's the 7 biggest economies in the world, with Donald Trump's on that, chaired by Justin Trudeau. We'll see that Zelenskyy is holding his own roundup talks. Keir Starmer will zoom into that by a Zoom call. David Lammy later today, the Foreign Secretary, he'll give a statement in the Commons with more sanctions on oligarchs. And later tonight, we'll see that man on the screen there. I think that's Emmanuel Macron. He'll be in the White House, meeting from 5:15 p.m. with Trump, and then a press conference at 7 p.m. And all that is a warm-up to the act following on Thursday this week, when Sir Keir Starmer goes to Washington. I should be with him on the flight over there. I'll be bringing all the news of that visit to GB News viewers and listeners as it happens. A big moment as the UK try to make the case, I think, for backing Ukraine and not selling out Zelenskyy, as it's so important. And the issue for Europe is ensuring that the US can continue to support our security in NATO and in Europe against our foes, particularly Russia.
And Chris, how do you think he's going to play it on Thursday? What's your sense? Do you think we could have an announcement on defence spending on Thursday ahead of meeting Mr Trump?
Ellie, we might get a date on that. Now, the government's commitment is to get to 2.5% of our GDP, our national income, being spent on defence. We're not there yet. There's no roadmap to that point, but we expect we might get that on Thursday. That doesn't mean it'll happen any quicker, but at least a date means we can hold the government to account as they increase their spending. Of course, if the economy grows, defence spending grows. There's a whole of government approach on this. If they can grow the economy, then our spending on defence will increase too. It seems to me, though, that the approach towards Trump is one of judge him by his actions, not his words. We're not jumping in when Trump says, frankly, dramatic and sometimes offensive things. We're holding back and holding him to account on his actions. I think that is the way you deal with someone like Trump. But the rule book is being rewritten in real time with this US president on his second time in the White House.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you very much indeed for the update there. We're going to Germany now and the election. Which happened overnight, and didn't happen overnight. The result was overnight. We're going now to Flavio Manuel. Flavio in Munich, one of my favourite cities, I have to say. So explain to us, the British audience, how this has turned out, what it'll mean for Germany, and what will it mean for the UK?
Hello. It means that it will keep up. Nothing will change. The CDU, the Conservative Party, is the big winner of the election in Germany. The second best party is the AfD. They doubled their result from 10 to 20%. And but due to the so-called Brandmauer, the wall against fascism, where the AfD is means. I think nothing will change in Germany. We will see a so-called great coalition, probably between the SPD, the German Labour Party, and the CDU. The SPD had their worst result in their history, but due to the so-called Brandmauer, the wall against the AfD, they will stay in the government. So I think for Germany it means that nothing will change. They will keep on doing the Ukraine policies, the migration policies won't change at all. So with this chancellor, Friedrich Merz, who was once working for BlackRock, he will not fight for German interest. He will rather do what the global elite is telling him. So I am personally very disappointed of these elections in Germany. I think there was a huge opportunity for a change, but the AfD didn't make it to 25%. So now what we can see in Germany that it will keep up, nothing will change.
But AfD is really the story of the night, isn't it? As you say, doubling their vote share. In terms of issues in this election that people were voting on, with those sorts of results, would you suggest that immigration was the #1 issue for people?
Absolutely. Migration was the #1 issue as well because of the terror attacks that took place as well here in my city in Munich just a few weeks ago. And for sure, migration was topic #1, but still the AfD was supposed to make around 24-25%. Some people were hoping even more than 25%. So now they made only like 20.5% or something. So I think personally, for sure, you're right. Migration was the topic #1, but still we need to talk about Ukraine war. We need to talk about the recession in Germany taking place for the third year in a row. No one is talking about the economic crisis in Germany. It's all about migration. And still we can't see a real change with Friedrich Merz. I don't think he will change the migration policies. We will see what's going to happen now in Germany. We don't know yet. I personally think it's going to be a collision between the German Labour Party, the SPD, the party of Olaf Scholz, who had their worst result in their history. Can you imagine that? And they will still, they will be in government.
Flavio, got to leave it there.
This is ironic. This is ironic.
Thank you very much indeed for your views and your overview of the whole situation. Flavio Manuel there, who is a journalist operating out of Munich on the German election. The Great British Giveaway comes next. What does it involve, Ellie?
It's a new iPhone, shopping vouchers and £10,000 in tax-free cash.
Yeah.
2 winners. Here are all of the details that you need.
Don't miss your chance to be one of 2 big winners in our latest Great British Giveaway, as we have 2 prize bundles that have to be won. There's 2 lots of a totally tax-free £10,000 in cash. You'll also receive a brand new iPhone 16, along with £500 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite store. Hurry, lines close on the 7th of March. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. 1 entry costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 network access charge, or post your name and number to GB11 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 7th of March. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Good luck to you. We've got a royal aide, a former royal aide, talking in Australia and revealing a lot about the Prince and Princess of Wales. Cameron Walker with the details next.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Last week, Christie's Auction House in New York announced that it was holding an auction devoted solely to art created with artificial intelligence. Nearly 6,000 people have signed an open letter calling on Christie's to cancel the sale over concerns that the technology behind such AI art pieces exploits human artists and can potentially violate their copyright. And there are broader ethical questions at play too. Where do the boundaries of art lie? With me now is James Thomas from Martin Stanmore Auctions. James, very good to see you indeed. I don't quite see how you can have art without a human being. I mean, art to me is something which is produced by a human being which expresses something about the human condition. To me, that cannot be produced by a machine. How do you react to that?
I agree completely with what you're saying there. I think for us at Martin Stanmore, we're very much about sort of getting behind artists in a traditional method.
I sometimes say to my team, you know, I've got a piece to camera to do now. Find out what AI would say that I would say. And, of course, what it comes up with. It doesn't have enough knowledge about what I've just experienced, so it's not a perfect example. But it certainly gets the tone. And, therefore, I mean, I'm completely replaceable. I mean, you know, the next series that I do... Say that. Well, thank you so much. The next series I do of Railway Judges, you could perfectly well have an avatar and AI producing words that sound like mine.
It is very scary. It is very scary. And I think for collectors and investors, it's a bit scary for them too. I mean, a lot of our collectors at Martin Stanmore that we speak to, they very much prefer things that come from traditional artists, not just sort of blue chip works, but also up-and-coming artists.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Now, one of the Prince and Princess of Wales' most trusted advisors, Jason Knopf, has broken his silence in a new interview that's been featured on Australian network 9 Now. Well, joining us now in the studio is GB News royal correspondent Cameron Walker. Good to see you, Cameron. And what did we learn from Jason Knopf?
Well, a very close aide, former communications secretary, and I think I can almost guarantee that he would not have spoken to the media without Prince William's express permission. But he has opened up, particularly about the last year of Prince William's life. Of course, we know that Prince William said it was a brutal year for him. But Jason Knopf has opened up about a phone call he had with William following the Princess of Wales' cancer diagnosis. So let's just take a little listen at that.
Do you remember that phone call between you and William about Kate's diagnosis?
It was awful. Absolutely awful. It's the lowest I've ever seen him.
Well, he also talks about the fact that the reason that they didn't make the cancer diagnosis public straight away was because they were trying to work out how to tell the children. And, of course, we had all these horrible conspiracy theories online going on in the background. So he does talk about that. But what he also talks about-ish is working for Harry and Meghan as well, because he was communications secretary for all four of them at the time when Harry and Meghan were working members of the royal family. Now, Jason Knopf is the guy who put a bullying complaint against Meghan into the private secretary of Prince William back, I think it was in 2018. Meghan's lawyers have always denied those allegations, but of course it gives you a sense of the kind of difficult situation Jason Knopf was in when working for them. But he said it was very difficult to have stuff like this play out in the public eye, talking about Prince William and Harry's relationship. But William has chosen to keep his thoughts on it private, and I think all of us who know him should respect that we should do the same. So I think Jason Knopf was keeping quite tight-lipped on that particular point. But it was an interesting documentary because it was basically looking ahead to what Prince William will be like, or could be like, as king, because of course we know that the king is still undergoing cancer treatment. Now, there's no suggestion that there's anything particularly imminent there, but of course we all know inevitably one day Prince William is going to be king. So that was the point of the documentary.
Very interesting that it's done to Australian media as well, because we know from your trip down under just how popular William and Catherine are.
They certainly are. I mean, the King and Queen were incredibly popular. There were thousands and thousands of people outside the Sydney Opera House. I think I was talking to you both live from there. But speaking to members of the Australian public, they were saying, we really want the Prince and Princess of Wales to go down under, maybe with Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis too. So maybe one day, we'll see.
Well, the invite's there. Thank you very much indeed, Cameron, Beverly and Andrew. Now, guys, how's the day's news shaping up that you're going to interpret it? What's going on?
Well, we're going to be looking at how many fewer benefits claimants are facing sanctions for refusing to work. This is all about the government's Get Britain Working reforms, and how many of them are now just sitting on benefits, doing anything at all.
Do you know what gets me, Bev? I see these interviews about people who are defrauding through benefit fraud and all that sort of thing. How do they get the benefits in the first place? Surely, Andrew, they're giving them out to too many people willy-nilly.
Because it's just easier. In the same way GPs, I think, just sign people up again and again on sick pay, just easier. Repeat prescription. I think there's too much of it.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, you think how many people are economically inactive? Is it 10.5 million now?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. This is a rich, prosperous country. It's a joke.
We are going to be also reflecting on this result in Germany as well this morning.
That is extraordinary, because the party that came second just want to kick migrants out. They don't want them coming in. They kick them out. They call it remigration.
And, of course, this pensioner who got the knock on the door from the police for criticising councillors, and somebody who's going to be naked talking about nudist beach.
But not Bev.
Stay tuned for that.
But not Bev.
Not
Bev.
OK.
Thanks, you two.
Thanks very much indeed. And thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll be back again 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah, let's get a check on the weather. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. The rain will be clearing its way eastwards through today, then sunshine and showers with lighter winds compared to Sunday. So we've got this band of rain across the southeast through this morning. That will clear its way eastwards, then turning drier for a time with some sunny spells breaking through. But we'll also see some showers developing across the southeastern England into parts of East Anglia. But further towards the west, plenty of sunshine. Northern Ireland seeing frequent showers that could be on the heavy side. Likewise for northwestern Scotland, but feeling pleasant in that sunshine. Highs of up to 13 or 14 degrees with lighter winds too. Now, as we head through Monday evening, we'll still see a few showers across the southern parts of England, but most places further towards the east should see some clear skies. A band of heavy and organised showers across western areas, but we'll see temperatures start falling away. So some of the showers across parts of Scotland could turn wintry over the highest ground. So as we go ahead through Monday evening and over, the showery outbreaks of rain will continue to push their way eastwards. Further towards the southwest of England, though, we have a band of more persistent rain just pushing up from the south, and that will move its way slowly eastwards into parts of London and East Anglia. Behind that, clearer spells developing. We'll start to see the winds drawing in more of a northwesterly, so actually turning a little bit colder on Tuesday morning, perhaps with a touch of frost for some of us. So through Tuesday morning is a damp start across eastern parts of England. Hazy spells of sunshine behind that. Then showers will start developing more widely as we go into the afternoon. So it's a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers on Tuesday. Generally, the winds are a touch lighter, though, and we'll see them coming in more of a westerly direction. So temperatures a touch down on what we've seen in recent days. Bye-bye.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
The latest GB News travel.
Good morning, I'm Russell Holding. In County Durham, the A167 is closed at Newton A Cliff after an accident. In Lancashire, the A56 is closed along Newtown Street in Colne after an accident. In Lincolnshire, the A16 is closed each way between Surfleet and Pinchbeck after an accident. In Monmouthshire, the A4042 is closed off the A40 south of Abergavenny because of flooding, and train services are suspended because of flooding between Tony Pandy and Pontypridd. In London, the A2 is closed each way along Shooters Hill Road in Blackheath after an accident causing delays. On the M25 in Surrey, there's a lane closed clockwise because of flooding between junctions 11 and 12 from Chertsey to the M3. Long delays and queues packed to junction 9 at Leatherhead. On the M27 in Hampshire, there's a lane closed westbound where someone's broken down between junctions 9 and 8 from Fareham to Southampton, and there's a lane closed westbound at junction 12 at Portsmouth after an accident causing queues.
You can stay up to date throughout the day by visiting our website, gbnews.com.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You.
That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning, Monday the 24th of February, live across the UK. Britain's newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Bev Turner.
Good morning. So change in Germany. Conservatives and the Alternative for Germany take the top 2 spots in the election. Is this another vote against mass migration in Europe?
Friedrich Merz is set to be the new Chancellor of Germany, the AfD in second place. But what does that mean for UK politics?
And it's 3 years to the day since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President Zelenskyy is ready to quit his position, he says, to secure peace if there's a table at NATO for his country.
What I have seen only makes me more determined to stand up for Ukraine, to put them in the best possible position and make sure they have the security and the hope that they need.
And they're going to be walking the Trump tightrope. Sir Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron have agreed to deliver a united message on Ukraine when they meet President Trump this week. It's going to be fascinating.
And he's still in a critical condition. Pope Francis suffering from early kidney failure as he continues to battle pneumonia. We'll have the latest.
And more thought police in the UK. A grandmother in Greater Manchester had officers visit her home over Facebook posts that were criticising Labour councillors. She now says she's too afraid to say anything.
Put your clothes on. There's a storm brewing between naturists and a local parish council which is trying to ban nude sunbathing on a Suffolk beach. We're going to be talking to one of the nude bathers.
And Meghan bullying claims one of the Prince and Princess of Wales' most trusted advisors has broken his silence in a new interview.
I am very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year.
That naked beach story.
Fascinating, fascinating.
It's just what we need on a Monday morning, something a little interesting.
What's silly old po-faced parish councillors? Let them get on with it. They don't want to see the sun